the degree of any sort from Fort Hare will be questionable because of like something as small as this, like Alzheimer's. But then if ever there's a criminal element in it, then why isn't the school stepping up and then like maybe requesting a slot on the radio? I don't know, maybe if I missed it. But
Yeah,
then like trying to set the record straight. Or like in the affair like this is how it is. Then here's how we are assisting the police, here's how we are assisting the SIU. So here's the steps we've taken actually in order to protect maybe if ever there's a criminal element. But no, it's not about Oscar Maria. It's about how many people if Oscar bought uh, the
his
certificate, the degree,
qualification. Yeah.
if he bought it, then like it means somebody was selling. Like you can't buy something that somebody's not selling. So it means like the question is how many other people did they buy like from that person, whoever was selling.
You know, Tsepo,
So now like
I have to agree with you on that point that the University of Fort Hare needs to be a lot more forthcoming, especially because Oscar Mabuyane is not the only one that has been caught up in a controversy of this nature in as far as it relates to the university. And it's the institution's own credibility that is at stake. So they can't afford a position where they're seen to also be ring fencing the processes and trying to not be as transparent as possible in answering the questions that even the public has around how the premier obtained that degree.
see now like our kids are there, like an expert, and then now they're getting out of the school with a degree that is questionable. Then again, they're still an expert. Now that somebody's throwing an expert, and then now they can't find employment. But like when they see that degree from that university, then now I'd rather go for another university than this one.
I agree with you, Tsepo, that there's a lot more that Forte itself, especially also given the drama, the controversies that that institution has been caught up in, that to save their reputation, it is also incumbent on the university to stand up and say, actually, you know, this is this is what we have done. This is the investigation we have run, but then allow that process to be scrutinized. You can't say this is my investigation, but then nobody gets to see it. You don't get to question the process. You don't get to question how we got to the outcome. That's not in the spirit of the kind of transparency that is needed when dealing with the level or the nature, rather, of the allegation that is being made against the Eastern Cape Premier, Oscar Mabuyane. So agree 100%, Sepo. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll take the latest news headlines, and then on the other side of this, we'll take you to the Maganga Commission. There does seem to be a bit of drama outside. It looks like there's a group that's protesting, but I'm sure news will have the latest on that.
Good morning. In the headlines, Northwest businessman and police minister Sedzom Kudu's alleged associate Bron Mogotsi will start to testify before the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria shortly. Mogotsi's testimony will mark the commission's second phase. The judicial watchdog Judges Matters says alleged criminality the country's justice system has raised national security concerns, and City of Johannesburg has until the end of today to complete the verification of informal traders operating in the city. For SAFM News, I am Ad Musa.
This November, SFM proudly presents the third annual lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also checks and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SFM invites you to our third annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is confronting inequality, corruption and unemployment.
Let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Fourways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Extraordinary is built on innovation, and Vodacom Business is leading the way. Cloud that scales with your business, security that earns trust, AI for smarter, faster decisions, IoT that connects systems and people, and connectivity that bridges every gap.
Predecessor, Advocate Motawa explained that we were going to structure these hearings essentially in 3 stages. That in the first stage, the persons making the allegations in support of the allegations that Brigadier General Mkhwanazi made at his press conference would have the opportunity to bring evidence forward in support of those allegations, and that evidence would not be tested at this stage. It would be tested later when we call those witnesses back in stage 3. Then in stage 2, persons who need to answer some of those allegations will be called, and we're now moving into stage 2. Now, the witnesses making the allegations were allowed to tell their stories without interruption or without hostile questioning. And so in fairness to Mr. Mokhotsi and to all other witnesses who come in this stage, we propose that we will allow the witnesses to tell their story first. We will lead them on their statements without interrogating in any detail the allegations that they make in their statements, so that they have the opportunity to tell their story in full without hostile interruption. Once they have completed their statements, we will then shift to a more intrusive form of questioning, just to test the veracity of the allegations that are made. So for most of today, I would imagine.
So is this something the evidence leaders will do immediately?
Indeed.
The witnesses' evidences?
Indeed. But to enable the witness to tell their story in full, we will only do that after they have told their story in full. So for most of today, I will be leading Mr. Mokhotsi through his statement that's been made available to you. Depending on how far we get today, either late today or tomorrow, I will then start testing particular aspects of that, of what Mr. Mokhotsi says in his statement.
I hope that doesn't stop us from doing what we have been doing, which is sometimes to ask a few testing questions as you go along.
Indeed, certainly clarificatory questions, absolutely, Chair. We would welcome clarificatory questions. Mr. Mokhotsi needs the opportunity to make everything clear to the Commission. Again, on the same basis as the Commissioners have been questioning the Phase 1 witnesses on particular details, the Commissioners must feel free to do the same in relation to Mr. Mokhotsi and all other witnesses.
Thank you. In addition, just one slide. In addition to the file containing the statement, there are 2 other files, 1 and 2. One referred to as the exhibit bundle and the other as annexures. I want to put one behind me. Is there one that you
indeed,
think you
the exhibits bundle
on?
will not be referred to today.
Which one?
Exhibits bundle.
Exhibit.
File 1. So exhibits bundle will not be referred to today at all. And that's in terms of an undertaking I've made to Mr. Mokhotsi's legal representatives, because it was made available at a very, very late stage. So they will need to go through it with Mr. Mokhotsi after hearings today before I can refer to it. I should mention also in that regard that there are certain, in the annexure bundle, which is file 2, there are certain, if one goes to page 144, from 144 on, there are documents which are the documents that were attached to the chats between Mr. Mohlahlana and Mr. Cathy Mohlahlana. I will not be referring to those documents today because, again, they were made available at a late stage to Mr. Mohlahlana, and his legal team needs just to have the opportunity to confirm that they are indeed what we say they are.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chaskalson.
Mr. Chaskalson, is it 144 of 2 of 2?
It is
CBM1.
from CBM1 onwards.
And also maybe just to guide our engagement in this uninterrupted section, when you do the second part, you will be interrogating the statement of today.
Indeed,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Mohlahlana, good morning. Please place your name, your full names on record.
Opa Brown Mohlahlana.
Are you going to swear or affirm?
I'm going to swear, Commissioner.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Mohlahlana. And Mr. Mohlahlana, just to repeat what I've just said to the Chair, in the first stage of this...
I'm very sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Chaskalson. Mr. Mohlahlana, can you please switch on both mics and try to pull them as close to you as possible?
I thought they're not moving.
As long as you'll still have room for your laptop.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Just to repeat what I indicated to the Chair at the outset, the purpose of the starting phase of today's session is really for me to enable you to tell the story that you tell in your statement. So I am not going to try to catch you out this morning, as it were. I'm trying to amplify what you say in your statement. There will come a point when we reach the end of your statement when I will have to test what the correctness of what you're saying. But I will give you notice when we reach that point, so you know when to be on your guard, as it were. With that introduction, Mr. Mohlahlana, can I just check that you have in front of you both the file called Statement and the file called Annexures, file 2 of 2?
Yeah, they're in my possession. Thank you.
And so we will start with your statement. And there is a fairly lengthy introductory section that runs from page 1 through to paragraph 13 on page 4, which explains the approach to you from the Commission, the notices that were sent to you and your responses. I don't think we need to dwell on it in any detail, but will you merely confirm that what you, well, maybe we should start at the very beginning. Can I ask you to go to the end of your statement, page 25, and confirm that the signature that we see on page 25 is your signature?
That's my signature. That's correct, Commissioner.
And that the contents of the statement that you have furnished to the Commission are true and correct?
True and correct. That's correct.
To go back then, paragraphs 3 to 13 really set out the background to the Commission's engagement with you and what happened in leading up to your furnishing of the statement that we received on Saturday. Beyond confirming that those paragraphs are correct, is there anything in relation to those paragraphs that you would like to highlight or to amplify before we move on to the substance of your statement?
No, they are correct.
Thank you.
I'm satisfied.
Then, if we can start with the substantive part of your statement, and maybe you can start at paragraph 15 and tell the Commission about your history that you you set out in paragraph 15.
Thank you, Commissioners. During the period from 1993 to the early part of 1995, I was in Contresizwe operative, but in its self-defense unit, which operated within South Africa, and had its own objective in gathering of intelligence. I gained a lot of experience in the clandestine gathering of intelligence and the practices of counterintelligence. I then became, and I was appointed an official informant for the South African Police Service in 1999. During 2009, I was registered and thereafter acted as an agent for crime intelligence in the South African Police Service.
And can you explain to the Commission the difference between an informant and an agent?
See, an informant will be any person. It even happens in different situations. We may be a group of 3 probably doing something illegal or stealing, and when I happen to be arrested alone, the moment I tell the police the truth and tell them, even yesterday we stole something and we left it at a particular place, and the police goes there and find whatever that I'm saying, and further probably tell the police, look, even next week or tomorrow we are planning to break somewhere, and the police goes there and they find that it's true, my friends were attempting to steal or they were breaking, the particular person can also be regarded as an informant, or a police officer may be knowing the movement of this person, his environment, and may also make that particular person an informant. But when it comes to a contact agent will be recruited by a crime intelligence officers or official. And that recruitment will include certain things based on your history. Usually they'll even recruit an individual who has been an informant for some time. There is a particular paragraph in here which gives the difference between an informant, the definition of a co-handler. But what I need to emphasize, and a co-agent, sorry. A co-agent, unlike a...
Sorry, can I just clarify, when you say co-agent, are you referring to contact agent?
Contact agent, okay, contact agent. A contact agent is having a different, is usually empowered with an instrument that is it's utilized by all organizations, criminal intelligence organizations in the world. It's a very sophisticated instrument. It's called the legend building. In its definition, it's more like creating a false life or a backstory created for a clandestine operatives. It is an essential component of spy cover identity designed to withstand scrutiny and conceal the identity. Now, this contact agent, as I said, there is a particular paragraph which gives, it's paragraph 18. It says a contact agent is a person who is recruited by a crime intelligence officer, which is referred to as a handler. A contact agent is expected to establish a network of sources and informants in order to execute the task, and the handler would from time to time assign to the contact agent in the field. It goes to say a contact agent does not carry any form of identification which would refer to him or her as holding that designation, because a file with the contact agent details is kept in custody of his or her handler's possession. Now, all payments for services rendered by a contact agent and disbursement incurred in the execution of his or her duties as a contact agent are paid in cash by the handler after having completed the necessary paperwork. And usually, a handler would recruit a contact agent with the knowledge that the contact agent has been informant for South African police services proceeding his or her recruitment. And it further says, a contact agent can thus be described as a person who acts as a link between an intelligence service and informant or undercover operative. He or she passes information, instruction, or resources between the two while protecting the identities of those involved. He further manages the safety and secrecy of the communication channel used. For example, in South Africa, Crime Intelligence Division, a contact agent might liaise with police intelligence officers and civilian sources who provide information about criminal activities and or investigation.
If I can just clarify a couple of issues. You talk about payments. Can I ask, when you were an informant, were you ever paid for your services as informant?
As an informant, yes, you would be reimbursed in some way.
And as an agent, have you been paid as an agent?
Yeah, when recruited, you will obviously, after meeting your handler, after a week or so, he'll come and probably give a recruitment fee of some sort. And you will gradually be talking about your tasks and so forth. And here and there, he will assist you and bring you some payment, which all the time you'll have to sign some papers on receiving of that payment.
And when you as an agent run informants or have informants, are you empowered to pay them, the informants underneath you?
Commissioners, there is no way. You may just know that a particular informant has claimed so and so much through, and because you will be talking to the handler, there's no way you can pay. It is only the handler who can pay the informant. And just to add, Commissioners, even the handler on doing the payment will never come with a friend or a colleague. It will only be you and the handler.
So if your informants were paid, it wasn't you who paid them, it was one of your handlers who would pay them?
Commissioner, may you repeat the question?
So if your informants, the informants who you had when you were building a network as an agent, if they were paid, it would be the handlers who paid them, not you?
It will be the handlers, that's correct.
You've talked generally, you mentioned building a legend. Can you just explain to the Commission what you meant by that regard, in that regard?
The legend building. This instrument, when I said you will create a false life, in one of the statements, you will see I said one of my communications with General Mkonazi, for example. I sent him a message that, how is your relationship between yourself and Lieutenant General Khumalo? And he asked, what did he say? And I said, no, he was putting a remark that you are not listening to the crime intelligence. But the moment he advanced more question, I said, the minister has been briefed, or I said, General Khan will brief you next week. It's just to create a false life. You create a perception that the person can start talking to you.
But in your case, the legend that you created didn't involve any different identity from your actual identity as Brown Mokhotsi. You didn't.
Yes, I remained Brown Mokhotsi.
Can you then take the Commission to paragraph 16 of your statement and explain what happened in December 2020?
During December 2020, I was called by the late Lieutenant General Mfazi. It was just after the PPE scandal, after the COVID-19. And it was also after the arrest of Divisional Commissioner Lieutenant General Jacobs, Major General Kalakala, and the others. And when he called me for a task in my capacity as a contact agent to investigate, also to check the irregularities within the crime intelligence and South African Police Service. And that time, Lieutenant General Mfazi was the Deputy National Commissioner of Crime Detection. And
I mean, you refer to a brief to look into irregularities within crime intelligence and SAPS. That's quite a general brief. Was there anything in specific that you were specifically that you were asked to look at?
Yeah, for example, that period he referred to, there was reference about procurement of some vehicles by crime intelligence, which could not be traced, and other transactions. For example, you would have a proof of payment to informers, and you will want to establish if really these informers did receive those payments and so forth.
Can you continue then to paragraph 17?
Yes, that's where Lieutenant General Mfazi introduced wanted the particular handler to be my handler, and I told him no, but I do have a handler, General Mfazi, who was Warrant Officer Mabizela. But then the one that he called, we then agreed that he'll be my co-handler.
So, Lieutenant General Mfazi essentially gave you a co-handler to work alongside Mabizela.
That's correct.
And as far as you were concerned, was there any division of labor between the two handlers? Was there work that you did with Mabizela but not your co-handler, and work that you did with the co-handler and not Mabizela?
No. Yes, we will. The handler is the one who will always give you tasks, but in circumstances where the handler is not available, we'll also say, please talk to the co-handler, or I have spoken to the co-handler, please work with him in this particular project.
So as far as you were concerned, the handlers were a team that was managing you. There wasn't like as though Mabizela dealt with you in relation to a particular project. Co-handler had nothing to do with that, but he dealt with a different project.
Now, if there is a project, the co-handler will know and be notified by the handler. A co-handler will not initiate any mission without the main handler, the handler himself.
Now, in paragraph 19, you indicate that you need to protect the identity of the co-handler. And you say he undertook to be interviewed by me, and that interview, in fact, took place yesterday. I don't want you to name the co-handler in open commission, but can I ask you just to write on a piece of paper which you will show to the commissioners the name of the co-handler, so that if at a later stage the co-handler is called to testify, we know that we're talking to the same person.
Commissioners, may I approach my counsel, please? Commissioners, I will take it that it is only the commissioners who have the name of my client. Thank you.
Trust us, Mr. Mohlahlana.
Can I ask Mr. Bayliss to take the piece of paper up to the Commission?
Thank you.
On second thoughts, can I also see the piece of paper?
May I ask that Mr. Mohlahlana should please write the first name as well, if he knows it. Thank you.
When you're not testifying, and particularly when you're talking to your attorney, switch off your microphones because it gets recorded.
Thank you. Oh, okay. That's
fine. Mr. Mohlahlana, at the end of paragraph 19...
Sorry, Mr. Shaskel. Please continue.
At the end of paragraph 19, you say, during my clandestine investigations, I uncovered criminal activities, and as a result, my scope of work investigation was expanded. Can you amplify that? Can you give an indication of the sorts of criminal activities that you uncovered and how your scope of work expanded?
At first, it came about most of the emissions which were done in like informants working with the police, how the claims of informants will be inflated on the original submission as opposed to what the informant will receive. But most importantly was the like informants working with the police, how the claims of informants will be inflated on the original submission as opposed to what the informant will receive. But most importantly was the coordination in the crime intelligence in terms of, I may just give you one example. There was a time when an instruction was given out that all informants would receive a flat rate amount, whereas when claims are done, you see a different. You'll just get a different thing. And remember, commissioners.
What do you mean by seeing a different thing?
Different amount, like it was now known. That's what created a big problem for the crime intelligence, when all informers were given a flat rate of 3,000 rand, irrespective of the work they have done. And I believe as we continue, one will give you tangible explanation, evidence that shows how the crime intelligence actually got affected to where we are today. Yes.
Just to be sure I understand you, Mr. Mohlahlana, are you saying the informants would be paid a flat rate. But when the claim was made in respect of
It won't be the amount.
that informant, a higher amount would be claimed
Yes. But now
from the so-called slush fund.
Yes, that's correct. And not only that.
All right.
You know, commissioners, what is contained in the statement is mostly questions which were directed to me to respond to. I believe this commission, through the contribution, how we want to assist this commission, there will be a drastic change, especially in the crime intelligence. As we go on, we'll be able to get the picture, the actual picture, as to actually why are we here, why there is this commission. As we go on, I believe so.
Apologies, I interrupted you. You were still at the point where you were talking about the flat rate being paid, but a higher claim being made.
Yes, that's where an informant will tell you, I've received this much, and your source inside will tell you a different amount. And then as 2 or 3 of those things happened, that's when the scope get expanded.
And how did the scope expand?
Then that's when you start focusing on something very, very difficult. If a particular or if an incident of that kind has occurred, commissioners, it will now call to check as to after every arrest, how will this informant be remunerated? Now, not focusing on fighting crime. Now, wishing that there could be something happening that they could be, and then once arrest has happened, then one will want to know how the whole thing unfolded at the end of the day.
Just to clarify, Mr. Mokotsi, I think earlier you said that payments would be made in cash.
That's correct.
So were there records that you verify against if you're doing this investigation?
Yeah, the utilization of a source, it's a very tricky thing. It goes with loyalty and trust. But the source will always show you something which you cannot take. But then you'll inform your handler that such and such has taken place. That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chiskatsi.
Then in paragraph 20, you talk about Lieutenant General passing away in July 2021. Can you explain to the Commission what happened at that point?
Lieutenant Mufasi passed away in 2021. Excuse me. And then immediately my handler has instructed me to lay low. And by the way, there is an investigation on the passing of Lieutenant General Mufasi, the suspicion of being poisoned. There is that investigation by IDEC. However, my handler instructed me to lay low, which I did, but I kept communication between the handler and the co-handler.
Can I just clarify? Certainly, the official recorded cause of death for Lieutenant General Mfazi is COVID, is it not?
That's correct.
And do you know why you were instructed to lay low?
I did not. I took it that because the General Mfazi has passed on, the handler is probably thinking they should be other things that will come up at a later stage. But there was no way I could continue when the handlers say you must lay low.
Paragraph 21, you talk about the period December 23 to January 2024. Had you been laying low from July 2021 through to December 2023?
Yes, but I said I kept contact with my handlers.
Can you then take the commission through to paragraph 21?
Yes, that was the time in 2023 up to 2024 that when South African government initiated an action against the government of Israel in the International Court of Justice. Now that's when we got information that the area in Richards Bay, which is controlled by this Israeli interest, there was a worry from those interests that South Africa may hold that particular business, the trade.
What area in Richards Bay, Mr. Mohlahlanana?
There is a mine in Richards Bay. But then the information as it came was that there was a suspicion then, a real suspicion, that Lieutenant General Mkonazi was recruited by the Central Intelligence Agency, the American one. And he actively worked for them.
In your statement, I will read exactly what you say when you introduce this subject of recruitment. You say, I obtained information from one of my sources that King Misizulu and Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi were recruited by and actively worked for and with the American Central Intelligence Agency, in brackets CIA. Relayed to us by you, this information is hearsay. And relayed to you by your source, it is hearsay. So it is hearsay upon hearsay or double hearsay. Do you agree?
I do not agree, commissioners. In this world, the intelligence world, when there is a suspicion, you may presume, you can say yes, it's a hearsay, how a general person will think. But a contact agent, an underground operative, will have to investigate. Even if you can.
No, please continue.
Okay. The hearsay part, it becomes something of a general knowledge. One must investigate because it's a suspicion. Now, if a source says to you, King Misizulu and Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi were recruited by the CIA, you start paying attention to everything they do.
May I please, it's a simple question.
Okay.
I don't even understand why you would dispute what I'm suggesting to you. In my language, which is isiXhosa, hearsay is undiva. I've asked my co-commissioners what it is in Setswana, and they tell me that it's mabaribari. Or it's even true. Or it's even mabaribari.
It's true.
You know that?
Yes, I know that.
So all I'm asking you
That's correct.
is whether you accept hore.
It is yes.
Mabaribari.
Yes, it was Mabaribari when it was first presented.
Yes, I'm
That's
not
correct.
asking about what you would then establish afterwards.
Thank you.
Ne?
Thank you, thank you.
Ke ona?
Ke yona.
Danke.
Hey, o buile monate ka bo ka gopola ditlepe-tlepe tsa ka, man.
Thanks. I don't want you to misunderstand me.
That's correct.
Hearsay evidence is admissible in this commission. The only issue would be its probative value. That is what weight we attach to it. So it's still admissible. Yeah.
Thank you.
But my next question then is, what detail, if any, did your source give you on how the source knew that General Mkwanazi and King Mrs. Zulu had been recruited by the CIA?
The Commissioner, may Commissioner rephrase the question? I don't.
What detail
Oh,
did your source give you on how they, that is your source, knew that General Mkwanazi and King Mrs. Zulu had been recruited by the CIA? Did your source just say, do you know General Mkwanazi and King Mrs. Zulu were recruited by the CIA without more?
yeah, it is without more. You'll just say, King Mrs. Zulu he's been staying somewhere in the US. You check and then you see how General Mkwanazi speaks. He always tells you he was trained by the American. But that's where everything started, commissioners. And indeed, even in front of the art here and in our talk, he spoke about being trained by the American.
I'll tell you that I actually hold a degree from the United States of America. Does that make me a CIA operative? I'm scared I asked that question because you just might say yes.
No.
But can you please respond?
Yeah, no, I cannot say that, commissioners. Investigation as it comes. Someone may say that, not to me, to another agent, to whoever, may say Commissioner Matlanga is a CIA. He may say that, not to me. Yes, that.
Thank you.
But just picking up on the chair's question, apart from the fact that General Mkwanazi says that he received some training in the United States, did your source give you any information to support his allegation that General Mkwanazi and King Msizulu are CIA agents?
Yeah. You see, when information came, commissioners, it further talks to the treatment which the combination of General Mkwanazi and Msizulu, King Msizulu, how they treated the brother to King Msizulu, Prince Makati. The investigation took us to that extent that we ended up having to meet them.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, even though the question is not mine. I do not understand the question to be about what you established later.
Oh, okay.
It's about the stage at which you get the information.
No, there was nothing on top of that. Thank you. Understand.
I think maybe then go to paragraph 22, where I think you were heading anyway.
Oh, this is where the source further indicated that in execution of his mandate from CIA, Lieutenant General Mkwanazi on numerous occasions sent members of the political killing task team to intimidate, harass, attempt to murder members of the royal house associated to Prince Makati. Now, the number of cases were opened with SAPS in KwaZulu-Natal related to this conduct. And these cases were, however, not investigated or acted upon by SAPS due to intervention of Lieutenant General Mkwanazi, being the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal.
So, can you explain what evidence, if any, you received to substantiate the statement that this was in execution of a mandate from the CIA?
It is because we ended up, like I'm mentioning, Prince Makade commissioners. Part of my network, we ended up having to meet with them. Actually, they even came to Gauteng. We hosted them in Midrand, helped them to open a case as they were alluding. But that time, Prince Magade sent the eight and Prince Zulu. We came to Midrand. And after opening the case, due to jurisdictional purpose, the matter was then transferred back to Nangoma police station. We also have the case number mentioned here, commissioners.
You mention in paragraph 22 that cases relating to alleged intimidation, harassment, and attempted murder of members of the royal household associated with Prince Makadi were never investigated or acted upon by the SAPS. Do you have any details of these cases that we could investigate further? Are they?
That was said during when we opened the case. When we said, "Okay, come, let's open it and let's see what will happen." This is what came from the investigation, Commissioner.
But do you have any?
No, except for the case that we opened.
Cases?
Except for the case we opened, this is the only case that we have.
And this case that was opened first in Midrand and then transferred to Nongoma, do you have any details of what has happened in that case?
The case could not be furthered, could not even be investigated further.
You say it could not be investigated, or
when you ask the complainant, they'll say there's nothing happening on the matter.
Then in paragraph 25, you...
Sorry, Mr. Chairperson, maybe let me just clarify something still in paragraph 22. Mr. Mokotsi, maybe before I ask my question, let me go back to 21, just to complete so that 22 makes sense. In 21, right at the end, after you say that General Mkhwanazi was trained in the United States, you say, and I read, they being King Misizulu and General Mkhwanazi, say they were activated in that capacity to protect Western interests. I further obtained information from the source that Lieutenant Mkhwanazi was tasked to neutralize any opposition to King Misizulu. Prince Simakade is currently involved in litigation. And then in paragraph 22, and my question is, you say a number of criminal cases were opened with the SAPS in KwaZulu-Natal related to this conduct. And this is after the sentence where you say members of the political killings task team were sent to intimidate. These cases that you refer to, were they cases against members of the PKTT?
That's correct. And thank you, Commissioner. In fact, when SC was crossing to paragraph 25, I was going to ask Commission that I should emphasize that the reason the case was open in Gauteng was simply because it's not written elsewhere, but it's a practice that has been developed, that if cases were open against political killing task team members, not only in KZN, all over, and they would not be investigated. That's the thing I wanted to say.
Yes, my question is more specific. It is, you say there were a number of cases opened, and my question is, are those number of cases against members of the PKTT, accusing them of intimidation, harassment, and attempted murder? You're saying there are such cases that were opened?
Yes, that's what I said. There were such cases according to the investigation. But the one that we opened in Midrand, it was against Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, the case. that was opened by Prince Ms. Makati.
And the ones opened against PKTT members, there are names to them. There are individuals, members who are named in those cases.
That perhaps the commission, we one will have to find out and try to get more information. But as I'm saying, on the arrival, as we spoke, they did say, you know, we tried to open these cases so many times against PKTT, against General Kwanazi. Nothing has ever happened. Yes.
So that's what you were told.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I see.
The one that was registered, it was against Lieutenant General Kwanazi.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chaspa.
Thank you, Commissioner. And this case was it was registered at a regular SAPS station, not with an iPad.
A police station.
Can you then proceed to paragraph 25, where you talk about the Western interests that were allegedly being protected here?
Yes, that's the part I say there is a mine, a coal mine sources, and the export routes thereof in South Africa. So it further says there was an apprehension that South African government may hold the output of coal via the Richards Bay port terminal. And the offtake portion of this coal route was owned by Israeli interest. It is for this reason that Richards Bay area became priority region and focus point for Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi.
Can I ask you just to expand on this, because there are a couple of issues I need clarity on. The first is where the concern arose about the halting of output of coal from Richards Bay.
You see, like I said, when the information came, commissioners, there was a feeling of the Western, of the Israels, that because South Africa took Israel to International Criminal Court, that feeling amongst them was that even that trade route could be halted. And that's why they had now to activate their sources, being the King and Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. And I can also confirm that during that time, Prince Smakate was in a business engagement, with the Chinese, because I believe there was kind of agreement which was planned to be entered into, but it was opposed and it never materialized.
And you speak about the offtake portion of the coal route being owned by Israeli interests. So are you talking about, well, what share of the output that goes through Richards Bay are you talking about?
Yeah, well, the information one could not verify. Remember, the business interest was something which we never dwelt much into. The issue here was that the prince had a problem, and he knew that there is a coal going out from there, and it falls under his jurisdiction. They were part of it. I never got much information related to the shareholdings and so forth.
And did you investigate whether coal output from Richards Bay was increasing or decreasing over the period 2023 through 2024 and on to 2025?
We never got to that stage to investigate that part.
Of what relevance, if any, is your evidence about the intended transaction between Prince Magade and China? Is that of any relevance to your testimony today?
I don't understand question, Commissioner.
You mentioned in the context of the Richards Bay Port Terminal, you mentioned Prince Simagade and China, and you said something like there was an intended transaction which, as I understood you, fell through. So my question is that testimony of any relevance? I'm not suggesting that it is not, but is it of any relevance to?
Yes, I would say, Commissioner, if the Chinese were brought into the picture, it directly impacted on the interest of the Israelis. I think that's the relevance.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mokotsi, do you know who owns the Richards Bay Coal Terminal?
No, I'm not aware. I don't know. Not know.
Can I then, moving away from Richards Bay, ask you to turn to paragraph 26?
Commissioner, I would like to be advised here. When SC is mentioning a paragraph, do I have to read it, or should I? I am not actually conversant with these processes now. I end up repeating what is written, or one is expected to expound what is contained in here.
If I can say, if you want to amplify anything there, please do. But when I ask you to go to paragraph 26, bear in mind we can see the statement, but
so
the people watching and listening can't. So it's to read it, and if you want to amplify, to amplify.
Thank you. Okay, during the period March-April 2024, one of my sources in South African Police Service informed me about the health tender that was awarded to Vusmusi Matlala through a company owned by Matlala, namely Medicare 24. This company also had links to the then Minister Bekitele. The information discussed with my handler, Rizela, who indicated that I should wait to action this until the elections. He had a view that changes will be made in this regard on a political level.
What links did this company have with Minister Taile?
Commissioner?
What links did Medicare 24 have with Minister Taile? Yeah. And what do you base that statement on?
When the information comes, says this company has been awarded a 360 million tender. And the source says, I can tell you, Minister Bekitele is having interest in this particular tender. Now, the question is, what interest? Now, earlier, Commissioner was saying, my question is based on at the moment when you receive information. Now, I do not know if I should continue to explain what then happened, or I should stick to when I receive the information, Commissioner.
All I want is, do you have a basis for saying that there was this link? That's all.
Yes, there are bases. There are bases, Commissioner.
Do you care sharing those bases with us?
Correctly so, Commissioner. The tender was awarded during the tenure of Minister Bekitele. And I'm going to take this opportunity, Commissioner, to reference what former Minister Bekitele said in Parliament about this Vusi Musiket Matlala. Apart from in the statement, I did mention how much Vusi Musiket Matlala told me about his financial transactions with Minister Bekitele. Now, there is something I believe the Commission will have access to that. The Commission should perhaps direct attention to the crime intelligence, their archives. There is something called Boko Haram. It was a presentation, intelligence presentation, which was presented to the former minister, Bheki Cele. I'm going to give a bit description about that presentation. Commissioners, it was 6 pages. The Boko Haram, it talks to a man who was known as John Wick. This John Wick appears on the presentation of the intelligence presentation, which was presented to Minister Bheki Cele. There's a picture of John Wick, his ID number. It has his previous convictions, pending cases, and everything, all the matters that were withdrawn against him. It was in 2018 October, Commissioner. Commissioner, John Wick is Vusemose Cathy Mohlahlana. Even the picture is showing that. Now, former Minister Bheki Cele says now he only met him in December 2024. Now, one will ask again. He even said he didn't know him, invited him to his house, and it was a freebie. He had to take it. And I should also share it's within those messages between me and Cathy Mohlahlana. The story that Minister Bheki Cele was in Cat's house. It is true. We actually had to arrest Minister Cele at that time. He was affected by this POCA Act, the Proceeds of Crime Act. There was an arrangement. I believe when you get to those messages, one will be able to allude to the commission exactly what happened. It was during the ANC Lekgotla when General Cele was in that house. And the basis which I also refer to, I'm saying when we reach there, it's written in my statement, the monies which Cathy Mohlahlana alleges to have given to Bheki Cele, they are there.
On the timing, when was Minister Cele in Mr. Mohlahlana's house in relation to the award of the contract?
It was after the contract was awarded, Commissioner. The contract was awarded last year, and the information said, and it's not only former minister, it goes to General Masemola also. Not only General Cele. When information came, they referred, of course, to General Bheki Cele, that he has interest in that. And it is true that he would, from time to time, talk to Cathy Mohlahlana. But that time, because he was the minister, we could not do anything. Hence, the instruction was that let's wait for the elections. And indeed, the ANC parliamentary list, when it was published, Bheki Cele was on the list around 200 and something to 300. We already knew he was not coming back to parliament. And we waited for the new dispensation. And as a result, Minister Senzo Mchunu was appointed the Minister of Police.
I just want to understand, and this is my last question on this. I want to understand your point around Mr. John Wick's in relation to the award of the contract. If you are making any connection at all in that regard, what's your point exactly?
The point is that it is clear that General Bheki Cele, he knew Vusemose Cathy Mohlahlana beforehand, because this presentation was done in 2018. And when the source says General Bheki Cele is having an interest in this tender, you'll ask him, but why are you saying that? What do you have? He'll say, no, with the information that is coming, go and check. But I know they are talking or they are meeting. He'll just give you a draft information as to this is what is happening.
If I understand you correctly, so you are basically saying at the stage of what you refer to as the Boko Haram presentation, Minister knew of or about Mr. Mohlahlana.
Definitely. There's
But,
no
but
way.
at that stage, you are not suggesting that they had met.
Yes, they had not met. Let me say, because he was presented and the picture of the presentation shows Vusi Mohlahlana's picture. Doesn't show, there's no other John Wick. John Wick is Vusi Mosket Mohlahlana.
So he knew of or
He
about
knew
him.
of the man,
All
yes.
right. Thank you, Mr. Chaskasi.
You speak with some detail about this presentation. You say it's 6 pages, October 2018. Have you seen it yourself?
Yes, that's correct, commissioners. There is what you call compartmentation, what you call is a sensitive compartmentation information, intelligence information, sensitive compartmentation, compartmented intelligence information. Now, you as an agent, you can just see that. I saw it. And that's why I'm requesting the commission to engage with the crime intelligence. I believe they will get the copy of that.
Do you know who in crime intelligence presented it to the minister at the time?
No, I do not know.
And do you know who we should ask in crime intelligence to receive this document?
I believe the commission will, just like it has been doing with other institutions, will pursue that route to find a particular person who's relevant.
And beyond the description Boko Haram presentation, is there any detail you can give us that would enable us to track down this document?
To get the Boko Haram. Can you, Commissioner?
I mean, I need to know what we should be looking for. So I need to describe.
Oh, you say you're looking for Boko Haram presentation. Crime intelligence Boko Haram presentation. It's blue in color.
And October 2018.
That's correct.
Mr. Mukhosi, you, in that paragraph 26, right at the end, in page 7, you say the information was discussed. This is the information about Mr. Minister Bheki Cele's interest in the company. You say this information was discussed with my handler, who indicated that I should wait to action this until after the election. What action were you supposed to take?
No, he indicated that I should wait to action.
Yes, what is to action here? What were you supposed to do?
Yeah, meaning to inquire or to speak to anyone within or outside, because that's correct.
Okay, so it wasn't. I thought earlier you said something about arresting Minister Cele.
No, I was referring to the.
Okay,
Commissioner, I was referring to the messages which I speak to Kat about certain things that will show that I knew the time when Minister Bheki Cele was in Kat's house.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the second part, which is the last sentence in that paragraph 26, you say your handler held the view that changes would be made in this regard on a political level. What is this? What was the what did your handler say is the significance of political changes?
Yeah, meaning that there may be a new minister except Bheki Cele.
What did it matter? Did he explain why it would matter that there would be a new minister to your work because you were going to action something?
Yeah, obviously, commissioners, if you are to investigate anything against the person on the seat who's sitting there at that moment, it's very, very difficult. So we had to perhaps wait for the new administration that would perhaps give us a breakthrough to find a way to talk to other people.
So what the handler was saying, that a new minister would allow you, or hoping that the new minister would enable you to conduct the investigation, to action which you were holding in abeyance.
not that way, Commissioner. Obviously, when a new minister comes, will always come with new changes. Will make changes to some important positions, which allows one to have access or talk to certain people.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor.
Mr. Mohlahlana, you then in paragraph 28.
Mr. Mokgotsi.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Mokgotsi. In paragraph 28, you then mention that after the elections took place, in September 24, your handler and I discussed the possibility of arranging a meeting with General Sabia. Can I first ask which handler you're talking about? And we won't mention your co-handler by name, so just refer to him as your co-handler.
Yeah, it was my handler, Mabizela. But in this situation, I remember very well that he did tell me that he spoke to my co-handler and that we should find a way to meet with General Sibia.
And why General Sibia?
One of the reasons from the source was that General Sibia was totally not involved in the awarding of this tender. And more relevantly, General Sibia was appointed exactly in the space of the late General Mfasi. So we thought we could find a way to create a relationship, probably.
And you say you called General Sabia. Why would you call him, not your handler?
It is in the nature of this work. You get that a handler will not call a senior police officer and say, we have this particular thinking or whatever. If he gives me the number, he gave me the number, and then it is me who had to approach Lieutenant General Sibia. In case he does not agree or does not, like what we would perhaps be proposing, the handler should not be having a problem at work now that he spoke to the Deputy National Commission.
So when you spoke to General Sabia, you did so telling him that not telling him that your handler had suggested this, not telling him that you were an agent. How did it work?
Obviously, you send a message to say, good day, General. My name is Brown Mokgotsi. And he'll ask you a question. How do I help you? Who are you? And you'll send a next message saying, I think it's important that I meet you face to face. There's something that may be affecting you directly or indirect. May we have a meeting, please?
And do you introduce yourself to him as an agent or just as someone coming off the street, as it were?
No, you do say I have information that can be of useful and it may need your intervention. It's about this the tender and also in the department, a tender in South African Police Service. And then where you start talking about the corruption of crime intelligence, you will say, and in subs, there are this and that, those challenges. I know I have information of things that are happening inside.
And how did your interaction with General Sabia then proceed? Did you meet him face to face? Did you speak to him on the phone?
We spoke 2 or 3 times over the phone. Then I requested to meet him and we met here in Gauteng. And that's when I told him that I am a contact agent and this is what I'm looking for. And there is a project, an award of a tender in South African Police Service. And I used to work with Lieutenant General Mfasi and so forth. That's when I introduced myself formally.
And when approximately was this?
It was around August last year, or September, August.
And do you remember where you met?
Yes, we met. At first, I came to his office, and there is something very important that I should also mention, commissioners. The moment you inform a person that you are this particular agent, I believe you can hear, as it is spoken by me, myself, that everyone heard Lieutenant Sibe, General Sibe speak in Parliament that we met in December and what. At first, the intention was to bring this application in camera. And I know he had a view that he had to protect me. He couldn't speak what I'm saying here to the public. That perhaps a question will be posed, but we had General Sibia. Okay, he even said I didn't pay my breakfast in Cape Town. But I'm trying to say it should not be misconceived that I'm saying something he did not say. He had a duty to protect me. That's why he could not allude openly that this is Brown Mokhotsi, we met. He just said, I came to him with information that someone is after you in crime intelligence. He did not speak to this that I'm saying. And this is what happened.
But your evidence is that you met for the first time in August, September last year.
Yes, in his office.
In his office.
That's correct.
And you say you briefed him on the two matters, the one of which was the tender of Mr. Mohlahlana, which you've discussed. The other was crime intelligence corruption. What did you brief him on in relation to crime intelligence corruption?
At that time, there were so many things happening in crime intelligence. I'm going to be specific in relation to crime intelligence commissioners. There is one Major General Lushaba. He is the Chief Financial Officer of the crime intelligence. It's one of those incidents. He happened to, at his own time in Pretoria, met one, I don't know whether the girl was beautiful, but he met the girl. He took the girl to his house, and in the morning, the state laptop and the cell phones were gone. Major General Lushaba, instead of reporting that I had a visitor in my house, this and this happened, he opened a case of housebreaking against this girl. Now, as investigation was continuing, one of the crime intelligence officers, he was a sergeant, who was gathering information for this housebreaking case. He realized that this is not a housebreaking. Something different has happened. They started by cutting him off of these WhatsApp groups and so forth. As I speak, the man has been fired for that, just to participate in that. Look, or let me say, part of the reason this was used, they may have something that they may have added during his disciplinary hearing, but this was the main reason he was kicked out of his work.
And when did that happen?
It happened, it was last year, but as I'm saying, I was talking to General Sibia. One will mention certain things in the crime intelligence. That's one of the examples that I have given.
You started using pronouns. I got a little bit confused. Is it Major General Lushaba who was fired?
No, the sergeant who was helping with the gathering of information on the docket.
Thank you. Thank you. The he, got a little bit confused. Thank you.
And this is part of what you reported to General Sibia at your meeting.
Yeah, if you talk of crime intelligence, I was also showing the commission, particularly what is being transpiring in the crime intelligence. And of course, we also spoke about that a bit.
Can I, sorry, just on that. The question from Mr. Chaskalson is, in this meeting in August of 24, when you meet with General Sibiya, what did you brief him about crime intelligence corruption? Now you've explained about the loss of the crime intelligence corruption. You've explained about the laptop being lost, somebody having lost their employment because they were looking at this. Is all of that what you briefed General Sibiya about in August 24?
That's correct.
What about the fraudulent claims? Or what about the claims you referred to earlier? Was that part of the briefing or not?
Yeah, no, we did.
You did not.
No, we did not get much into it. And
all right.
Actually, when we spoke, General Sibiya was he did not trust me. He was not comfortable. We did not speak comfortably for a long time, but we did touch some of these things. But
so is all that you spoke to him about in relation to the corruption, the issue involving Major General Lushaba, is that all you spoke about?
I did mention that, yes, I did mention.
Is it the only thing you mentioned?
No. Or to General Sibiya, yes, we spoke about corruption, and I did mention this thing about General Lushaba, but particularly I was too much into this one of the health tender for Cathy Mohlahlana.
You say crime intelligence corruption.
That's correct.
And how do you relate the tender to crime intelligence corruption?
That's why I'm saying on this part, commissioners, if a person is not that comfortable to talk to you, you'll just say, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of corruption in crime intelligence, and there is this. Then it doesn't give you much time to explain what we are referring to. But he did know that I told him I'm a contact agent and I'm having to deal with this corruption and so forth. And we spoke only particularly about the issue of General Lushaba.
You also say there, though, in that same sentence, that you also briefed him about the Matlala SEPS tender award. What about it did you say to him?
Telling him that my sources say it was not awarded in terms of the law. Probably let me use irregularly. It was not. It was irregularly awarded. There are certain things which were not done properly out of that tender till its finalization and appointment.
So as at August 2024, General Sibiya knew that there were irregularities to do with the award of this tender.
He didn't know. I was telling him.
I'm saying you told him in August.
Yes.
So as at August, he had that from you, that there were irregularities.
Yeah, towards the end of August, I believe. Yeah.
Thank you. And then maybe lastly from me, Mr. Chaskalson, if I may just finish off, sorry that I'm interrupting you. You introduced yourself to General Sibiya, you say, and told him that you're a contact agent. Now, I would assume that he would have wanted to check for himself to verify you. You say he didn't quite know to trust you at the time.
Yes.
Did you have to tell him who your handler is? Because I would imagine that's relevant information.
Yes.
For him.
And unfortunately, he knew my co-handler.
Oh, he did?
Yes, co-handler.
Okay. He knew that it is your co-handler.
Yes, yes, I did mention a bit that I'm working with this man so and so.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chaskalson.
And you then in paragraph 29 and 30 talk about how you gained the trust of General Sibiya by letting him know your role in an arrest in the Northwest Province in an operation. Can you just tell us a little about that operation and what your role was?
Yes. At first, we got information about the they referred to them as Nkabis, who were, in fact, a week before, there was some shooting taking place in the area. And through the information, they had to come in 3 or 4 days from that previous shooting. And there were TOMS, this tactical operation management system of the Hawks, who also came to Rustenburg. And then on the arrival, commissioners, they found security officers wearing a black uniform. And they inquired about the permits and licenses for the firearms and rifles they were holding. And indeed, they were presented with such. And an hour later, they left and took a cover. Now, immediately within an hour, the anticipated gang of Nkabis arrived at that place. And the police came. It is on exhibit. The pictures and the rifles will be seen there. They are attached. There were 32 firearms, pistols and rifles from 17 suspects. Now, what happened on that day? It was this man who was heading the operation that I was working with, the lieutenant colonel. His statement is here and everything. He received a call from that time Major General Mboto. He was a Major General. They called him and said, "Why are you arresting police officers? I mean, security officers?" Because that time, those people were already detained. All the firearms were put into the SAP 13 and so forth. Then he asked him, "Why are you arresting security officers?" Now, the officer alluded to him, "No, we came at first, as I tell the commission, we checked the security. These people are not security officers." And Major General Mboto, he was a Major General at the time, he insisted these people are security officers. But then the man who was the duty officer at the police station was in
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
On the top stories, Mokgotsi testifies on being South Africa's agent for crime intelligence, and COSATU calls on leaders to address the country's social ills. For SAFM News, I am Onde Lambana, and a very good morning. Businessman Brown Mokgotsi has told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria that he is an agent for the country's crime intelligence. The alleged political fixer has been mentioned several times as a key player in interference to the criminal justice system, which the Commission is tasked with investigating. Mokgotsi has claimed in recent times that he survived a hit when his car came under fire in the East Rand. He has also dropped a bombshell that Vusimuzi Cathy Mohlahlana is the so-called John Wick that terrorized Pretoria communities.
There is something called Boko Haram. It was a presentation, intelligence presentation, which was presented to the former minister Bheki Cele. The Boko Haram, it talks to a man who was known as John Wick. This John Wick appears on the presentation of the intelligence presentation, which was presented to Minister Bheki Cele. There's a picture in general in divisional commission. His previous convictions, pending cases, and everything, all the matters that were withdrawn against him. It was in 2018 October, Commissioner. Commissioner, John Wick is Vusimuzi Cathy Mohlahlana.
A fourth accused in the alleged insurance-related killings in Limpopo is expected to apply for bail in the Polokwane Magistrates Court today. Johannes Shokane is the brother of his alleged accomplices, former police surgeon Rachel Kutumela and Anna Shokane. The third accused is Rachel Kutumela's daughter, Flora Shokane. They are all accused of killing 9 people and claiming about 10 million rand in insurance payouts. Mudau reports.
The accused Johannes Shokane is facing 25 charges, including 9 counts of murder, money laundering, and receiving proceeds of unlawful activities. Johannes Shokane's matter was remanded in custody for bail application following his arrest 2 weeks ago. He will later join his siblings, former police sergeant Rachel Gutumela and her sister Anna Shokani, and Gutumela's daughter Flora Shokani for trial in October next year. They were all remanded in custody. Amkoke Jomotao, SABC News, Polokwane.
The Eastern Cape Education Department has confirmed dispatching psychologists to a school in Zolo. It says this follows allegations that the principal kidnapped 2 learners from the hostel, pointed a firearm at them and tried to rape them. The principal was arrested and is facing charges including kidnapping, attempted murder and rape, and possession of unlicensed firearm. The department spokesperson, Malibongwe Mdima.
Yes, we can confirm that the principal is incarcerated as we speak. Details of his arrest are known by the department as we got them today at the court. The kids are in a safe home and getting psychosocial support. They are also writing their examination. A fact-finding mission by the department is being conducted by the professional psychologist and the social worker to ensure that the department also gets the side of the story.
COSATU has called on leaders to address the increasing prevalence of social ills plaguing the country as they appear on various stages leading up to the G20 summit at the weekend. This is Deputy President Paul Mashatile is expected to deliver the keynote address at the G20 Social Summit in Ekurhuleni in eastern Johannesburg shortly. The aim of the 2-day summit is to amplify the voices of civil society, grassroots organizations and communities focusing on global issues affecting them. COSATU national spokesperson is Zanele Sabela.
We have a crisis employment where we are affecting this poverty, very inequality, the fact that women work not valued as much as traditionally men's work. We also have a problem of youth where we see 70% of youth ages of 15 and 24 are unemployed. The other thing that won't maybe enough about with peace, how they
Former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers says he's deeply ashamed of his relationship with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He spoke after new correspondence emerged with the House Committee's release of files last week. Summers, a Harvard professor, said he would pause all public engagements and would work to rebuild trust. The BBC's Peter Bowes has the details.
Larry Summers, a key figure, widely respected as an economist. He worked under Bill Clinton, also former president of Harvard, where he continues to teach. And his friendship with Epstein was widely known, but emails that were released last week revealed the full extent of their friendship and the fact that during some of their correspondence that Mr. Summers had made sexist comments and even sought romantic advice from Epstein.
Recapping the top story, businessman Bram Mokgotsi has told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria that he is an agent for the country's crime intelligence. I'm Wundilambana for SFM News.
The best of the good life is coming back in 2026. But first off, Billings, Jonathan, Fez, and myself reunite for a road trip to the top beaches in SA. Kraalbaai, Camps Bay, Boulders Beach, and Nature's Valley. Don't miss the Top Billing Reunion Special, Thursday 27th November at 7 p.m. with repeat Saturday 29th at 3 and Sunday the 30th at 1 p.m. S3, open up.
The Expresso Morning Show has been nominated in 5 categories in the 3rd Annual National Film and Television Awards South Africa.
It all happens on Saturday, the 22nd of November 2025 at the South African State Theatre in Pretoria. And public voting is open from the 13th of October to the 20th of November at midday.
So visit nationalfilmacademy.com, register and vote for Expresso Morning Show in all 5 categories.
Then, of course, catch us weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. right here on S3.
This November, SFM proudly presents the 3rd Annual Lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also check and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SFM invites you to our 3rd Annual Public Lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is confronting inequality, corruption and unemployment.
Let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Four Ways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Lesotho does not mind visitors, provided 3 points remain in KZN. However, Swelele refused to travel to Durban as tourists. They want nothing but victory. This is the Midway Premiership. Forever! Amazulu FC versus Swelele FC on Saturday, 22 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3:30 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. Masandawana want to ensure that their DRC visitors have no say in Pretoria, the country's capital city. Meanwhile, the railmen are committed to a decent result away from home. This is the Group C first leg clash of the CAF Champions League. Mamelodi Sundowns FC versus FC Saint Louis Lupopo. This Saturday, 22 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 2. Then on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Good morning. Hey, sis Cathy. Oh, please, guys, can you please organize the city of Joburg, the mayor, the MM, the Department of Infrastructure, and whoever to come and account for those asbestosis in Soweto. People are dying of cancer out there. Please, please, please help us out there. Thank you.
Morning, Katie. The municipal workers are supposed to clean our country every day because they are paid. So there's lawlessness in the country, no accountability. From our homes to Lutuli House. And also the unions are the problem too. How can you wait for the visitors and stay in a filthy place instead of respecting you and your family before the visitors arrive? Thank you, Katie.
Good morning, Katie, and your producer, and all the listeners of SAFM. Katie, I can't wait to hear the side of the story of Mr. Mkhosi today. I don't want to miss. I will listen SAFM up until hear Mr. Mkhosi. That is my concert here from Cape Town. Thank you.
Good morning, Kathy. Kathy, I'm sorry. Now, with me, if it happens that they were investigating my qualifications, I won't stop them because I've got nothing to hide. It's very important, especially there will be that question mark. There will be that question mark. Thank you very much. Speaking to AJ.
Good morning, Sister T. Bongo, Sundisa. Yes, Sister T, why is Oscar Mabuyan trying by all means to stop these investigations against the qualifications that they've obtained from the University of Port Harcourt? What is he hiding? They should investigate, and then if they should charge him with fraud. Can't have like these like people with honors and masters degrees like fake ones.
Good morning, Honorable Cathy Mohlahlana. Good morning, the SAFM listeners. Yo, Cathy, I can't wait for Mr. Brown Holt. I can't wait to listen to Mr. Brown Mohotsi and that lady there by Edgar Committee. Ah, I can't wait. Uh, I day today will be nice, but my problem now I'm in and out in a car. This is doing deliveries now. I'm in and out, in and out, in and out. Ish, but I can't wait. Ah, now we're gonna listen. Listen, it's gonna be nice. It's Bulmagwita, Kuban, a Western Cape, Belgazile, who? Tango.
Morning, Kathy. This is Anele in Devon. I miss you guys so much. Even myself, I'm no longer around at home during your show as I'm out street vendoring. And I love you guys. I love you. I miss you so much. I'm home today just to rest. And congratulations to your nomination. Guys, you are doing a great job. A great job. Producers, presenters. Hey guys, you make us walk this journey wherever, whatever you are going through, we are going through, suffering, struggling, but with you by our side, you make us walk the journey very with you by our side. Thank you.
Very good morning to you, Kathy, and your team. Yes, very well deserved. Congratulations to you all. I hope you won all three.
Kathy, this is Matthew. Yeah, Kathy, it seems like everyone is complaining about the state of our leadership, more especially when it comes to political leadership. You know, the way soldiers have been crying, we also need a commission. Why soldiers are not supported to make sure that we are safe in this country. The last soldier, leader of a soldier from Navy side, he has said it all. We are not protected in this country. And we just keep quiet like that. Good morning. This is Matthew.
Good morning, Fisketi and the SAFM listeners. You know, I was about 17 years in SEPS, and it took me about 15 years to get to the rank of inspector, the old warrant officer. And now looking at provincial and national level, you only see brigadiers and generals. Yeah, these guys. But going to the police station here in town, Beaufort West, I still see some of my old colleagues that I left more than 17 years ago. I still see them with the same rank as inspectors, while all these top brass are smiling all the way to the bank. I feel so sorry for these guys on the ground working for peanuts, while all these guys they eat like hell. I'm so sad. It's bad. Thank you, Sisketi. Typo here in Beaufort West.
Morning, Kathy. Hope you're well, Siswam. Pagalonke here in Durban. Kabi Kabi. The sun is out inside. We are cruising nicely. Aspio ngokufana. Brian Makotsi, we need him to speak up loud and clear. Want to hear him. Ole.
Hi there, Lunga Western Cape. So I'm just listening to the commission and listening to the excuse that Begi Cele was not immediately investigated following the awarding of that tender. And reason being because it was minister, the peer, fine once he had been, removed from, well, no longer minister. Are we saying that ministers are beyond police investigation? That's a bit. I don't understand that. Anyway, not sure. I'm gonna continue listening.
Good morning, Sis Cathy. Yeah, Brown is spilling all the beans now. John Wick is Ket Matlala. Hey, what we gonna hear here in this Madlanga? Yeah, he's really spilling all the beans. This is the highwayman. What a movie.
Good morning, Askezi. Good morning, Askezi. Brown Mokhotsi, his lies will catch up with him. He's trying to paste all these narratives there so that he can paint everyone who is in the security cluster. Now he's mentioning Becky Taylor, he's mentioning all these people. And it should catch up with him because they still have to ask him questions. Like now he is busy mumbling some other clarifications that they need there. Then on.
All right, so those are just some of the WhatsApp voice notes that you're sending through on the show today. I think we have also been waiting for the resumption of Brown Mokhotzi's evidence before the committee. So while we wait and see if they're going to come back from the lunch, sorry, not lunch, from tea. Yeah, it's gone on a bit longer than it usually does. Maybe just this breaking news that is running on the SABC news channel, channel 404, and it's around the formal charging of the former minister Malusi Gigaba. He's now been charged with corruption in relation to deals at Transnet worth billions of rand. He appeared in court earlier on today, and that's where the charges were officially brought against him. So that's certainly something that we can take a closer look at as the day continues. So yeah, certainly worth noting. Malusi Gigaba charged with corruption over Transnet deals worth billions of rands, the state feeling that it has secured enough evidence to bring forth a conviction against Malusi Gigaba. Will they actually do that? Will they succeed in doing that? Is what we will have to see. At the ad hoc committee in Parliament, Professor Mary de Haas has started with her evidence. And of course, on the other side, so from the mother city to the capital city.
If I can take you then to paragraph 31 of your statement. And you say in paragraph 31 that after you had won, well, you talk about winning General Sibiya's trust in paragraph 30, and in paragraph 31 you say General Sibiya agreed that I could continue with my 2 infiltration operations. Can I confirm that you're talking about the Matlala tender as one and the crime intelligence corruption issue as the second?
That's correct, Commissioners.
And can you then take the Commission through the rest of your paragraph 31?
James, we agreed that I could continue with my 2 infiltration operations. We referred to the matter involving Matlala.
Mr. Mokhotsi, can you please have the mics in front of you? Please, please. Thank you.
Referred to the matter involving Matlala. Then James Sibiya gave me Matlala's contact numbers. My task was simple. I had to get close to Matlala and identify the syndicate involved in the tender, including if any members, including if any subs members. For this purpose, I had to convince Matlala that I'm close to Mchunu and that my concern and any concerns that Matlala had regarding South African Police Service tender could be addressed with the minister. These investigations are still going.
So your job was to investigate and identify the syndicate involved in the tender. Have you been able to identify members of that syndicate?
Yes, the investigation is ongoing. I cannot confirm that indeed I have a solid members that I've identified.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I say the investigation is ongoing and therefore cannot confirm solid names that I have identified.
You do later in your statement refer to Mr. Karim as an investor in the tender. Was that something that you established in the course of your investigations?
That's correct, Commissioners. Mr. Karim is Karim Suleiman Karim. He did, of course, showed me some documents that he has invested money in this tender with Vosimo Siket Matlala.
Can you then take the Commission through your meeting with Mr. Matlala on 7 December 2024 and what came out of that meeting?
I did, of course, call Matlala, engage with Matlala. A meeting was arranged on 7 December 2024, during which Matlala vented his frustrations regarding the SAPS tender. He intimated interior that SAPS had not made payments to him with reference to the tender. But after the meeting, and in December, I received a call from Matlala saying, because I think I must emphasize on 32 that this was a telephonic call, and then after I received the second call, that's when we met with Matlala, saying that I should speak to Mkunu, as he and his wife have been assaulted by members of the PKTT. He indicated that he was intent on and was indeed attempting to open a criminal case regarding the incident at SAPS Brooklyn. He was, however, unsuccessful due to the fact that the SAPS refused to open a docket and receive the complaint.
So, just to clarify, did you physically meet with Matlala at all on 7 December?
Yes, Matlala, we spoke over the phone, and I received a call from him, and he told me that he has a problem, he couldn't open a case. And in my response to that, I did call my handler to arrange for Matlala to open a criminal case at Soweto. And then it was my handler, Mabisela, who then spoke to my co-handler, who then facilitated the opening of a docket. Now, after Matlala thereafter was able to open the case through my intervention. So the case was opened at SAPS in Soweto on 7 December 2024. And on that day, me and Matlala met in Johannesburg.
And we're talking about a physical meeting?
Physical meeting.
I'm sorry, I should have just raised this with you earlier. You say in paragraph 31 that General Sabia gave you Matlala's contact numbers.
That's correct.
Did you not have those numbers yourself?
In my phone, I had different numbers, but I never spoke to him before. But the numbers that he gave me were those that on an official arrangement with SAPS through his tender.
So you had certain numbers for Mr. Matlala in your phone already?
Yes, but they never worked because I had the numbers in my phone.
So we've clarified then there was a physical meeting on 7 December. Can you go to paragraph 34 and indicate to the Commission what Mr. Matlala shared with you at that meeting?
Yeah, the meeting was very, very important because, commissioners, it is Mohlahlana who told me that these people are very ungrateful. He further spoke about General Begitele and General Masemola, saying that, you know, these people expect me, like Masemola, he expects 25 million rand from me, and I have already given him 5 million rand. He also spoke about Begitele, that he has given him 2 million rand, and he wanted 10 million, which means the 8 million rand was outstanding. One of the important things he said was that Gen Masemola and Tele, they are having a plan, a comeback strategy for General Begitele to come back, and they really, really want to get rid of General Sibiya.
And so this is information that Mr. Mohlahlana is giving you about, as it were, factions within the SAPS.
Okay, may you rephrase the question?
Am I understanding your evidence correctly that this information about General Pele, General Masemola, General Sibiya, it's coming from Mr. Mohlahlana himself? And he's speaking to you about divisions within the SAPS.
Yes, he's telling me, he was telling me physically. We were together when he told me.
Can you please read what he said they expected from him? Please read it as is in paragraph 34.1.
They expected him as a service provider to make payment to General Masemola in the amount of 25 million and Gen Kele in the amount of 10 million. Of the 25 million expected to be paid to Masemola, 5 million rent had already been paid, and there was a balance of 20 million rent outstanding. With regard to the Kele payment, 2 million rent had already been paid, and a balance of 8 million rent was outstanding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And did he give you any indication of how he'd paid them, when he'd paid them, whether he was going to pay the balance?
No, we never spoke about how he paid. Usually, when you are investigating something, talking to someone, the moment, as soon as you get deeper to know how, he'll immediately doubt you. You will take it as information and keep it.
Did Mr. Mohlahlana explain to you how he knows that General Masemola and General Kele wanted to oust Minister Mchunu and General Sibiya? I'm assuming you would have asked the question.
Yeah, he did not tell the how of doing it. He just said they want to get rid of Senzo Mchunu and Sibiya.
Sorry, maybe you misunderstood my question. My question is how he knows that's what they want to do.
No, he never told me.
Thank you.
Can we then go to paragraph 35, and can you take the commission through paragraph 35?
Yes, paragraph 35, I'll read it first. It is in December 2024. The same Mohlahlana, he referred me to a high-ranking police officer, and I subsequently met with him. I knew him, this police officer, I also knew him, as we have conducted one operation with him in the past. He shared information with me of the intention to craft a negative finding in a disciplinary hearing against Major General Khan, which was underway. He confirmed that he was in KZN for a briefing on how to address the Major General Khan situation. I am not in the position to identify him herein, as there are real concerns relating to his personal safety.
So if I can clarify, this man was brought to you by Mohlahlana?
Yes, he told me there is one hiking rate, he used the word, there's another bra that I want you to meet. He has something for you, and I believe the minister may want to hear, and the minister can do something. And I met this man who I have, in fact, I briefed my handler first to say there is this man who wants to meet with me, and then he's saying he has this kind of information. But when I met this man, I did a recording on our conversation. And immediately sent agent, after informing my handler, we had to process that because with the DPCI for a section 252A. And I did meet with Lieutenant Colonel Schnell to register and apply for and conduct the operation in terms of that section of the law. The intention, my intention there, Commissioners, was to employ the information that I obtained from the senior officer in the section 204 that he can, against General Mkonazi and Lieutenant General Kumal, because that's what he told me, that in Durban, they plotted on how to expel General Khan.
So if I can just clarify, this officer who was referred to you by Mr. Mohlahlana,
yes,
told you that he was aware of a plot by Generals Kumalo and Mkonazi to get rid of General Khan.
That's correct, Commissioner.
And that, as I understand it, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but the plot involves getting this officer to give false evidence against General
That's correct. He was one of the witnesses of an incident that occurred some years back, and he was called to KZN as part of preparations for the hearing. They did give him how the whole plot is to unfold and how he should implicate General Khan.
Do you still have that recording?
Yes, the recording and the statement is with Lieutenant Colonel Snell.
If I might just mention in that regard, one of the documents that we have actually approached Lieutenant Colonel Schneller, and one of the documents that was given to you late yesterday is the transcription that the DPCI made of that recording. So it's in that exhibits bundle. Okay. Can I ask that overnight, I won't ask you to anything about it now, but overnight, can you look at that transcription and just check that it accurately reflects the recording according to your memory? And if there are any problems with it, can we address those tomorrow? Or can you be in a position to address those tomorrow? So I want to just take a step back. This is Mr. Mohlahlana again, telling you about, for want of a better word, factional fights within the SAPS. You have, according to Mr. Mohlahlana and the officer he refers you to, you have two generals plotting to get rid of another general through false evidence of this officer.
That's correct.
Did you understand this division within the SAPS to be in any way related to the other division that Mr. Mohlahlana had told you about, that you have General Masemola and Minister Cele on the one hand and General Sibiya on the other? Or was this just a completely different split within the SAPS?
Yes. Honestly speaking, Commissioners, I believe at the right time also, I will talk to the relationship between General Bekitele, Masemola, General Kumalo. And I've even given them a particular term, which as we proceed, I'll be able to. Yes, the moment he mentioned that Lieutenant General Kumalo, Lieutenant General Mkonazi, there is a Major General Kumalo also in the KZN. It is him who addressed the senior police to say, we expect you, this is how we expect you to perform during the hearing. Because now, according to the lieutenant is telling me, the instruction from General Kumalo and General Mkonazi is that they must find this Major General Khan guilty, and he must be dismissed.
I'm not sure that you understood my question. What I was asking is that you're now flagging a division within SAPS of two generals, Generals Kumalo and Mkonazi on one hand, and General Khan on the other hand. Is that division in any way related to the division that you spoke about earlier with General Sibiya on one hand, General Masemola on the other hand with ex-Minister Cele?
Oh, okay, thank you for clarity. Yeah, it is true. That is the crime intelligence, the division of the South African Police Service. The same division which when I spoke initially with General Mfazi and General Sibiya, I was referring to. That was one of the cracks that I identified within the crime intelligence. The moment he says, and I did ask him, who's Major General Khan? And he said, is this other, but he knew him, didn't explain to me, I did not know him that time. And furthermore said, yeah, it seems like Kumalo and Mkonazi, they want to get rid of him. That's when immediately, because the recording is there, and then we were able to perform this whole thing. Then I realized that there are factions, and this is the unit which was referred to.
So just to clarify again, you were involved in a 252A operation.
That's correct.
Which involves essentially setting a trap.
That's correct.
And the target of the trap, or the targets, were Generals Mkonazi and Kumalo.
No. Remember, the senior officer, as he was talking to me, he did mention that they have promised him a colonel position. Not a colonel, no, they promised him a position. And with me, as we were talking, he was mentioning of a similar offer that I should perhaps be able, because I'm close to the minister with my legend building. He thinks I can also give him something better. Then the recording talks to that he was expecting something from me, which may be in the form of a promotion or something of that sort.
Sorry, but I just need to take you back to paragraph 36. You say, the intention, second sentence, the intention was to employ this person, that's the officer, as a section 204 witness against both Lieutenant Colonel Kumalo and Lieutenant General Mkonazi.
Yes, it's true. The first question you mentioned, 252A, it was a trap. But because we have trapped him already, now is my time to tell him that I expect you to be a 204. To help me against Lieutenant General Mkonazi and General Kumalo. Because he was recorded already, telling me the instruction they have given him on the plot against General Khan.
So the 252A didn't relate to his future testimony in the disciplinary hearing. It related to what? To your meeting with him when you recorded him?
Both two sections becomes instrumental to, remember the 252A was to trap on what he wanted, what he expected that I could be able to give him, as he has given me the information. And now I immediately use that information against him to say, now I need your testimony. We are going to testify against General Mkonazi and General Kumalo about their plot against General Khan, which was the plan.
So the trap that you say you had already entrapped him, I think that's the language you use. You had trapped him already. What was it that he's supposed to have done wrong that gives you that bargaining position to say he must now testify against the two generals?
The expectation of a rank. Remember, he said, if I give you, say something, at least you must talk to the minister to give me a rank or something.
So it is that he said you must give him a rank that
Yes,
constituted
yes,
what you've trapped him on.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And when was the meeting with him at which you trapped him?
It was during December 2024.
I don't want to, I just want to mention now that I think when we go to the chats with Mr. Mohlahlana, we may see that it's in January 2024. But are you, is it, so we'll get into it in some detail when we go through those chats. But why do you say December 2024?
Because the disciplinary, I went to inquire, I spoke to the handler. He did confirm when arranging with Lieutenant Colonel Schnell, he did confirm that there is a disciplinary hearing which is underway against this particular General Khan.
Okay, well, we can look at the chronology as it plays out in the chats later. What then happened? Did the trap go ahead?
Yes, upon him agreeing to the 204 and because it was recorded already and the information was with the DPCI, now it was incumbent upon the side of Lieutenant Schnell to proceed with the investigations and so forth. But the only thing that I did with the copy of the recording that I had, after speaking to my handler, the conversation, the information was leaked to the media, and it was leaked by me, purposely, and upon by General Kumalo and General Mkhwanazi. They had no choice because the information has leaked, and that's why I believe General Khan was acquitted. There was nothing he could do because there was a recording that proves that there was a plot to dismiss General Khan. And I heard him when he was here, if you remember, commissioners, he said after he has accepted to preside over General Khan's disciplinary hearing, I started talking to him. It is true. That was the period.
So let me just take a step back. You leaked the information to the media.
That's correct.
And the information that you leaked to the media was that certain witnesses had been pressurized to give false evidence.
And you will be given promotions. I think
in return for
the publication is available in one of the minutes.
But that was leaked, what you leaked to the media.
That's me.
And that had the result, in your view, of General Mkhwanazi acquitting General Khan.
Yeah, that's what happened. He had no choice. He ended up acquitting General Khan.
And what then happened with the Section 204 and the trap?
That commissioners, as senior counsel has alluded, that he has managed to obtain the transcript from Lieutenant Snell. I believe he'll be in a better position also to give senior counsel the progress relating to that matter.
And can I'm still not understanding the sequence, and in particular Section 252. you would have to get authorization under Section 252A to run a trap, would you not?
That's correct.
So when did you intend, or when did you seek authorization, and when did you intend to run the trap?
Through my handler, there is also a verbal authority to obtain the particular authorization, and it was done. I believe Lieutenant Colonel Schnell will confirm the process as to how did the whole thing unfolded. But it was done in my presence by my handler because it was a verbal authority.
So did this happen before your meeting?
That's correct.
And the meeting you date in December, I suggest to you it might have been sometime in January. But it would, at any rate, would have been before that meeting with the senior officer who had been asked to give false evidence.
Yes, but it was around December, if I recall. But as you say in one of the messages, it will reflect. I believe the correct date will be obtained, Commissioners.
Okay. If we can move on to the 8 January ANC celebrations, can you take the Commission to paragraph 39?
Thank you, Commissioners. On January 8, 2025, an ANC celebration was scheduled in Cape Town. Mohlahlana indicated to me that he wanted to meet Mqunu at the celebration. He offered in December of 2024 to contribute to the event by subsidizing ordinary ANC members from different parts of the country to be able to attend the ANC celebration. I relayed this suggestion to my handler, Mabisela, who then asked my co-handler to accompany me to Cape Town because my handler was not available. Mohlahlana assisted with the funding of transportation, entertainment, as well as accommodation of ANC members to attend the ANC celebration in Cape Town. Mohlahlana made payment in the amount of 149,000 towards aforesaid expenses and other payments towards the travel expense of 8 persons, which included my co-handler and his partner. The amount of 149 was paid to the company called Khotle, and payments were made to service providers by the company. The additional travel for the 8 persons mentioned was paid directly by Mohlahlana.
Can you explain to the Commission what your link to Khotle is?
The Khotle is a company owned by my fiancé. Now, to ensure when you do this traveling arrangement, it happens all the time. You do payment to certain people, and the transactions or services end up not being rendered. But then with Khotle, I knew because we had to, other payments had to go to buses, others to flights, others they had to use to be poured petrol. Now we wanted a central way of controlling the funds. That's why I used my fiancé.
So you were able to direct what would happen to the payments that were made to Khotle?
Yeah, not only on people who were already in Cape Town, because the payment arrived when we were in Cape Town already. Yes.
And who were the service providers who were paid out of this 149,000 that was ultimately paid?
Those are different people. Like I said, you will have other people been traveling by bus. You will have people at Cape Town. They say, Tina, we want to eat this. Others will have to be given, or you have to buy from a restaurant. Others you buy in a bulk. It depends. The money had to be available that side and be controlled. But as to other service providers, it is only Khotle that is able to prepare who else did they pay the money to.
And are you able to account for that 149,000 as to where it went?
No, Khotle must do. I'm not the director of Khotle. They have to deal with that, and if the commission requests them to do so.
Okay, so but your fiancé could account for that?
Yeah, those are entities. maybe as I'm here, I may have another fiance. It's not a thing that I can control her business.
You say you are not a director. Do you have any relationship whatsoever with this company?
Not company, the individual, the person.
So you have nothing to do with Khotle?
No, I don't.
Thank you.
Do you get paid by Khotle?
No. I'm not getting paid. It's a business. She manages things. Where as a traveling agent, here and there she'll take a percentage. That's her thing. Yes.
You say it was never your intention that Matlala would meet with Mkhunu in paragraph 41. Can you just elaborate there?
Yes, indeed. One of the instructions from the handler was that both the handler and the coil, the handlers, Cat Matlala must never meet with Senzo Mkhunu. My responsibility would rather be to manage him or to say things that I know would never materialize. But it was a clear instruction that they should never meet. And indeed, they never met. They never met.
And did you know why there was that instruction?
Yes, remember the intention on this company was to investigate the director who comes from being a John Wick, who's now Cat Matlala. There was no way you could bring that person closer to the minister.
Sorry, there's no way?
You could bring that person close to the minister, Commissioner.
You say at the last minute you informed Matlala that the minister wouldn't be attending the ANC celebration, and you suggested as an alternative that General Sibiya, Matlala and yourself should meet in Camps Bay.
Yes, that was a consolation. Remember, on the last minute when I informed him that the minister is not in the celebration, is not in Cape Town, he also decided that he's no more coming. But I couldn't just say, when you operate on somebody, you can't say the minister is not coming and you just close the conversation. You have to tell him, but I think because Sibiya is also in Cape Town, you can come and let's meet with him.
What would the purpose of meeting with Sibiya be?
There won't be any purpose because I knew he wanted to meet the minister, was to make him realize that I tried something because the minister is not here.
But what interest would Mr. Matlala have in meeting with General Sibiya? Why would that be an offer that would be attractive to him?
No, if there was no way, I couldn't say to him, come and meet comrades. You would want him to meet someone. Remember, if he has frustrations about his business, you would want him to meet someone. Remember, General Sibiya is a Deputy National Commissioner. It's not like I'm saying, come and meet Maliki. Or you give him someone who will make him realize that, oh, you mean business.
But if I understand your evidence correctly, Matlala said he'd already paid millions of rands to the National Commissioner for this contract.
That's correct.
So why did you think offering him a route to the Deputy National Commissioner would be of any value to him?
Commissioners, it's just that I don't wish that I should be operating a particular person like yourself. But what is happening is the moment there was no way I could say, hey, Kat, the minister is not coming, bye-bye. You would rather say, look, because the Deputy National Commissioner is here, I think you can come, we'll meet with him, but the minister is not here. So as to it adds value or it does not add value at the time, what was important is to pass the message for the man to make a decision whether he was coming or not. And I knew he would not come.
Why were you sure he would not come?
He wants the minister. He would have told me initially from the first place that I want Sibia, he said, I want Senzo Mtunu.
All right. You mentioned that your prediction was correct. He decided not to travel to Cape Town. Can you take the commission through paragraph 42?
That Matlala in China, after receipt of this information and the alternative suggestion decided, however, not to travel to Cape Town. He was increasingly adamant that he wanted to meet with Mkunu as he was not paid by the subs in terms of the tender contract awarded. Now, that's when I requested permission from my handler to facilitate a meeting between Matlala and the Chief of Staff, Cedric Gabinde, without the minister's blessing. And okay. Should I go to paragraph 43, Commissioner?
Please do, yeah.
My handler held the opinion that I should find a way to manage Matlala without attending to the minister's office, either to arrange an audience with Mchunu and or the Chief of Staff. He reiterated that I had to continue infiltrating Matlala network in order to identify all the role players within SAP's tender that was awarded to him.
So from your handler's perspective, they wanted to keep Matlala away from the minister's office entirely.
That's correct.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 105.1 FM in Johannesburg.
All right, so that's where we're going to leave it for today as our lot on the talking point. The show is back with you tomorrow between 9 and midday. We're going to talk about all of the events that are G20 related that are taking place this week in the lead up to the Leaders Summit over the weekend. So let me hand you over then to the update at noon team.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Well, a very good afternoon, 12 o'clock Tuesday, the 18th of August, 2025. A very warm welcome to Updated Noon here on SAFM. Leading the conversation, I'm Sakina Kamwendo. Coming up in the next hour,
the social summit concept started in Brazil last year and building on the idea of an
well, we're coming to you live from the Birchwood Conference Center in Boksburg, where civil society groups are gathering for 3 days leading up to the Leader Summit. And this, of course, ahead of the much anticipated gathering of G20 world leaders this weekend at Nasrec, south of Johannesburg. And in other news, we're also listening to what's coming out of the Madlanga Commission.
The social summit concept started in Brazil last year and building on the idea of entrenching civil society input into the G20, South Africa wants to ensure that the summit elevates issues of social development, equity and inclusion to the same level of financial concerns.
Well, of course, we are at Birchwood for the social summit. And we also will take you in a short while back to the Madlanga Commission, where businessman Brown Mokhotsi is appearing. And he is telling the commission, among other things, that he is an agent for the country's crime intelligence and was paid 3,000 Rand from the intelligence slush fund. Let us know your thoughts as well. You can send us your messages via X at SABC News_radio, or you can send us a WhatsApp voice note on 08269239009, and we'll try and play some of those. But right now, let's bring you the latest news with Ondelambana.
Thank you, Sakina. On the top stories, Gigaba charged with corruption related to Transnet, and Mokgotsi testifies at the Madlanga Commission. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. Former Public Enterprises Minister Malusi Gigaba has been charged with corruption related to a multi-billion rand tender at Transnet. The tender involved the procurement of more than 1,000 locomotives worth more than 54 billion rand. Gigaba appeared in the Palm Ridge Magistrate Court in Johannesburg alongside 4 accused this morning. Northwest businessman Brown Mokgotsi says he has been a police informant since 1999. He's testifying before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. Several witnesses have implicated Mokgotsi wrongdoing. This includes in having links to Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and crime suspect Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. Mokgotsi has detailed his experience and informant.
During the period from 1993 to the early part of 1995, I was in Mfundisi's operative, but in its self-defense unit, which operated within South Africa, and had its own objective and gathering of intelligence. I gained a lot of experience in the clandestine gathering of intelligence and the practices of counterintelligence. I then became and I was appointed an official informant of the South African Police Service in 1999. During 2009, I was registered and thereafter acted as an agent for crime intelligence in South African Police Service.
Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero has announced that 161 informal traders have now been verified and registered. The process is part of an order of the High Court in Johannesburg to physically verify traders in the inner city. Morero says the city has issued smart cards to 44 traders, while the rest will get theirs by Friday. The city says the low turnout has confirmed that the majority of those who are on the list are undocumented migrants. Morero briefed the media in Johannesburg.
We are now issuing smart cards today of 44 of the 161. The rest of the balance will be issued with their smart card by Friday, and they will be allocated to their stalls. So the allocation starting immediately as of today, so that they can start trading and target the month end of November so that they can begin to make reasonable profits.
Civil society movement We the 99 is demanding wealth taxes, debt relief for low-income countries and climate justice ahead of the G20 summit in Johannesburg this weekend. We the 99, which is made out of more than 100 local and international organizations, include trade unions and non-profits organizations focused on human rights, will host its own summit from Thursday to Saturday. Mazibuko Jaha is the founding director of Zabalaza Pathways Institute, one of the organizations leading the summit.
This year's G20 summit has preceded the release of the global equality report, which is on the equality to 1%, so the 1% which can pay their fair share of tax, that we can end financial flows, which billions of dollars from our countries to companies in the global north. In other countries, government are beginning to respond with poor budgeting, effective affairs. I want to take that.
The head of tech giant Google has warned that no company would be immune in the current AI-led tech bubble were to burst. Sundar Pichai says the boom in the artificial intelligence is unprecedented and has what he describes as irrational elements. He says Google is also investing massively in AI, but stressed that even state-of-the-art models were prone to errors and should not be blindly trusted. Pichai says has also cautioned that AI will affect future jobs.
It will create new opportunities. It will evolve and transition certain jobs, and people will need to adapt. And then there will be areas where it will impact some jobs. So as a society, I think we need to be having those conversations. And part of it is how do you develop this technology responsibly and give society time to adapt as we absorb this technology.
Recapping the top story, former Public Enterprises Minister Malusi Gigaba has been charged with corruption related to a multi-billion rand tender at Transnet. I'm Mondi Lambada for SAFM News.
When love turns to hate and hate turns to violence, the truth is never simple. In Love and Hate Crime Season 2, real stories expose the dark side of human emotion, where identity, passion, and prejudice collide. Powerful, unflinching, unforgettable. these are the crimes that challenge what we think we know about love and humanity. Thursdays at 10 p.m. only on S3. S3, open up.
Steadies understands that victory in their own backyard is highly important before the going gets tough on foreign soil. While the Congolese Giants want to kick off their group stage campaign on a high note. This is the CAF Confederation Cup encounter. Stellenbosch FC versus AS Otoho this Sunday, 23 November at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
The best of the good life is coming back in 2026. But first off, Billings, Jonathan, Fez, and myself reunite for a road trip to the top beaches in SA. Kraalbaai, Camps Bay, Boulders Beach, and Nature's Valley. Don't miss the Top Billing Reunion Special, Thursday 27th November at 7 p.m. with repeat Saturday 29th at 3 and Sunday the 30th at 1 p.m. S3, open up.
Update at noon with Sakina Kamwendo, midday to 1 p.m. Update at noon with Sakina Kamwendo.
A very good afternoon from Birchwood, and this is, of course, where the G20 Summit, Social Summit, is continuing. And it started this morning, will run over 3 days. And as some say, this is the heartbeat, the voice of the voiceless. This is where they get to be heard to make their contributions into what ultimately comes out of the G20 Leaders Summit. Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa has urged world leaders to intensify investment, especially in health and promoting the rights of women and children, and warning that the cost of inaction in this regard may be measured in lives lost, in diminished futures, and destabilized communities. So we join now here at the Social Summit in Boksburg by the Minister of Health, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. Dr. Motsoaledi, thanks so much for stopping by. So firstly, just in terms of the Social Summit and health, speak to us about the intersection between those two.
Oh, thank you, Sakina, and thank you to the listeners at home. There is a very strong intersection because, Sakina, I've said this many times and I'll keep on repeating it. Expenditure in healthcare is not expenditure, it's an investment, because no country in the world has been known that can build sustainable economies with sick people. It's not possible, it's not going to happen. And when you look at health and look at the hierarchies, the people who are at the bottom of the hierarchy are women, children, and adolescents. They are the ones who are at the bottom of the hierarchy, because in terms of economy, in terms of jobs, they are always at the bottom. So those are the people whose health we must take care of. But even more, where does life begin? You know, a lot of women die giving birth. That's where life begins, and yet you die doing what is so natural to sustain economies. So it is something that needs to be taken care of, and taken care of not only by health workers, by heads of state. That's why we even established the Global Leaders Network, which is chaired by President Ramaphosa, whereby he's mobilizing 10 heads of states, already 10 are in, to be aware at all material times of women and maternal and children's health. I want to narrate to you a story that happened in Uganda in 2010. I went there for a AU meeting. Yvonne Chaka Chaka was invited, that heads of states are meeting, because, you know, she's chosen as an ambassador for lots of things. Come and address them about these women, children, and adolescent issues, because many of them may not understand if you assume that they do. When she arrives there with a team, one head of state, I'm not going to name it, and unfortunately has also passed on. He was very irritated. He said, "What? We are here discussing important issues of the state, and you want us to pause and listen to women telling us about breastfeeding? You can't be serious." You know, I mean, he lowered this thing to is breastfeeding, and breastfeeding is not important. But Yvonne, ever being watchful, you know what she said? She gave an answer which I confess I wouldn't have dreamed about. She said, Mr. President, if your mother did not breastfeed you, you wouldn't have been head of state today. That's where your head of state position began, at your mother's breast. That's where you were nurtured. That's why today you are what you are. And so you must not undermine that. I found it a very brilliant answer. But many heads of states do not really understand these issues. They just believe they are peripheral when they are actually at the center. So dealing with women's health, children, women's and adolescent health, it's not just a health issue. It's also not just a moral or imperative or justice. It's at the root of development. It's at the root of development of every nation. That's where the development of every nation, the economy of every nation, that's where it originates.
And it's particularly key, I suggest, also for the Global South, Minister, this issue of maternal health.
Yes.
But as South Africa, comes to the end of chairing the G20, what is it that you as Minister of Health would like to foreground that you hope will find expression in the final declaration?
If you remember, Sakina, when we took the G20 presidency, we had to meet and tell the world what are the issues we're going to prioritize. And we gave them 5 priorities.
All these problems at that moment.
So you pay your informant, and you say you can claim it back from the handler when the mission is complete and has been achieved. The handler pays you whatever amount you say you paid the Uber driver. How does the handler know that to believe you that you paid the Uber driver 1,000 rands and not 500 rands?
Okay, maybe if you can speak in this case, where I gave that man 1,000 rand, I did not claim it. I just told I thought we are talking generally, how does this thing work? But in this case, I gave him 1,000 rand, and I did not claim it. I told my handler, and by the way, because the person I was following, it happened so differently. The Uber dropped him at the hotel. He was with his wife. They went into the hotel, and I waited and waited. They came a white Mercedes-Benz, picked the man up, and I had to follow this Mercedes-Benz to this other place in Umhla.
Can I just ask you not to mention the address of the place, because we don't mention addresses for obvious reasons.
Yes, then I went to Umhlanga to check the place, and then I waited for some time because they were together inside the house, and I did not know whose house was that. It was just the White House. It's fine. Then I waited for them as they came out. Then we went back to the hotel. I also slept and went away. And that was in April this year. Commissioners, May, June, July, during the 6th of July, during the General Mukhonazi's press conference, General Mukhonazi did mention Cathy Mohlahlana during his press statement. And it came out to everyone that on that day, Cathy Mohlahlana was found with a cell phone in prison. And indeed, and he called me, very furious. He said, Brown, can I tell you something? There was a time I told you that I went to look for someone who can solve my problem. And he said, and I said, yes, I remember. Because when I followed him, I didn't tell him that I was following him. And it became that I did not know who he met. They were driving the car, and it was something that was packed. And he said, I went to see General Mukhonazi's house. And I also gave him something. He was talking about money. I gave him, I also gave him, but he was speaking this language. And he Nyoko, this guy, and now he's talking like this about us. I think, and then I never said to Kate, I followed you. I did not know. Honestly speaking, I didn't see who that person was. But how he narrated everything about the day he was going to meet someone who was going to solve his problems, I remembered. And he said it was General Mkonas that he went to see.
You say this was after Mr. Mohlahlana's, after General Mkonazi's press conference of 6 July.
That's correct, Commissioner.
So Mr. Mohlahlana was calling you from prison?
Yes, he did call me from prison, not once.
And which number did he call you on?
No, prison phones, you cannot, no, it was just another number.
No, which number of yours did he call you on?
Oh, my cell phone numbers, yes, the one that even
that he uses in the chats?
Yes, everyone has that number.
And did he call you on, was he still using WhatsApp, or was he calling you landline?
It was WhatsApp. Yeah.
Then in 48, you talk about some other calls from prison. Can you just briefly describe those?
Yes. He did call me, of course, from prison, but we were discussing like his strategy, how was he going to get bail, and what is happening, what is transpiring, and what is he doing all that, like what is happening to him, like his plans of getting bail.
Let me take you back to the visit to Durban. When Mr. Mohlahlana said that he was going to go to somebody who would solve all of his problems, was he referring to the problems he had with regard to the tender?
Yeah, he was mentioning, yes, particularly in SAPS.
Yes. I'm thinking the tender, as I understand, was a tender concluded at national level. Did Mr. Mohlahlana explain how the KwaZulu-Natal commissioner, sub-commissioner, would have assisted on this?
He never said, can I, this is an omission. Honestly, I thought maybe he was going to meet General Cele or someone close to General Cele. But then I only got surprised when he said it was General Mkonazi and I was in his house.
And you did not ask when he told you, did not ask, how did you think the KZN subs-commissioner would have helped you on something like this?
No, I did not ask him, commissioners. And then, you know, like in prison, people will not call you and say, hey, how are you? Are you fine? It's like you pass a message, what you want to say, and then maybe the phone goes away. But he did mention to me that he was, of course, in KZN to see, and he went to Lieutenant General Mkonazi's house.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I ask, you had the address where he went?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Did you report that to your handler?
I give that to my handler, that's correct.
And did your handler ever tell you who lives at that address?
No. This whole thing stopped after Cat himself told me who he went to meet. But the description of the trip, it fitted with the problems that he told me about and the period. Because, you know, if let's say it happened in April, Monday, and he tells me on Thursday, so it took very, very long. Only on the 6th of July. Yes.
Paragraph 49, you now talk about your actions after Lieutenant General Mkonazi's press briefing on 6 July. Can you take the Commission through that?
Yes, after Lieutenant General press briefing on July, and moreover the reference made therein to me, I decided to continue investigating General Mkonazi and obtain as much information as I could. To give context to the arguments and statements that he had made during the press statement, my handler at all relevant times knew of my continued investigation and it carried his approval. And paragraph 50, sometime thereafter, towards the end of August, I contacted the late former Minister of Police, Nathi Mthethwa. I wanted to understand why Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was removed as acting National Commissioner of Police in 2012. I spoke to Mthethwa regarding my concerns that General Mkhwanazi was CIA operative, according to information I received from my source. Mthethwa said he shared my suspicion. In order to confirm this, he said I needed to travel to Kenya to meet with a contact who was aware of CIA operations in South Africa. 51.
Can I just stop you at this point? Had you ever met the late Minister Mthethwa before?
As a member of the ANC, long time, yes.
And how did you contact him?
You mean now before? Yes, I had his WhatsApp numbers. I believe even the gadgets, remember it's known, there was a search and seizure on my phones recently. That number, I'll give you the name I saved it under, is there. The name is there.
And where was he when you contacted him?
No, we only spoke over the phone. I think he was overseas.
And he said you needed to travel to Kenya to meet a contact.
That's correct.
And did he give you details of who this contact was and how to get hold of him?
He gave me the name and the contact numbers on WhatsApp. I phoned this person at some stage. He said he was in Tanzania, and he was going to come back 3-4 days later. And when I called, he confirmed he was back in Kenya. And that's when I left to Kenya on the 10th of September 2025. I believe in some annexures the ticket is also, I've annexed the proof of the ticket, and I returned back from Kenya on the 12th of September 2025.
So,
and in Kenya,
so proof by means of, or rather, you have proof which is a ticket.
Yes, I flew to.
And I assume you also have stamps on your passport.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And taking you back to the call you made to Ambassador Mthethwa, I think you said there's proof on your phone, a phone that was confiscated.
The contact numbers. He asked, the question was, how did I contact him?
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
So there will be a record on your phone of you having called Ambassador Mthethwa?
I believe it's supposed to be there.
It should be.
Yes,
it should be. There should be a record of that. Yes. So this will be a French number or a South African number?
No, it was that 27. He was still using the slam.
Oh, okay.
Because they still work outside. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you can then tell the Commission what happened in Nairobi?
Oh, in Nairobi, I did meet a gentleman who introduced his name only as George, but I don't believe this was his name. But the relevance of this guy, he's more conversant about most of the CIA operations in SADC, not only in South Africa. And we perhaps I should read it. He confirmed the possibility of the information obtained from my source as being correct. And again, I contacted Mthethwa, the former.
Sorry, before we get to 52, you say he confirmed the possibility of the information obtained from my sources being correct. So if I understand that correctly, he couldn't say it was correct, but he said he equally couldn't say it wasn't correct.
I do not understand the question, Commissioner.
You say he confirmed the possibility of the information obtained from my sources being correct. So he didn't, did he say to you, this information is correct, or did he say this information, it's possible?
He also held a suspicion. He also held a suspicion, which...
And you were satisfied with that?
We still have to engage. The investigation is continuing. He said he lost the contact number of a particular person, but he also made reference to this current G20 that during this period, there may be some lead. He will probably come back to me.
You see why I'm asking you if you were satisfied. You had gone all the way to Nairobi, Kenya, and all you are told is that there's a possibility that the information may be correct, and you come back to South Africa.
Okay, Commissioner.
It seems to me that it was all a futile exercise.
Okay, Commissioner. Commissioner, you know, my world is a very different world. It's something else, Commissioner. But just to give you a hint, it's not that I arrive at the airport 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I meet, hey, how are you, sharp, sharp. Is it true? No, possibility to, oh, bye-bye. Then I got into the flight. A person will give you, when I meet him, he must introduce himself properly to me. I also do the same. Now, agents, when they meet, there are certain things that you look for from this person. He'll give you reference about something or about someone. And he'll tell you that maybe in Botswana, there is this person doing whatever, and they are doing similar things. And this one we know for sure, he is a CIA. But this guy is doing something similar to what this man does. For example, you must check them. Every year they will go to Dubai and go to Switzerland. That's where the Switzerland meeting takes place or something. He'll give you information that you are able to put the dots together. And especially when you meet the person for the first time. I'm still going to go there. He may come here. We have to meet. He can't just say, yes, it's true, this and this. He knows I'll say, but what do you have? Because he asked me, I hear you are saying that, but what do you have? Then I told him so many things about the Richards Bay and all these things, how he behaved. And I must tell you how, because this whole thing of the 6th of July, to me, it was something else. It's not what we see. Something that was staged more like this was like a coup, a civil war. Is what I was trying to show him, and the idea when you bring these dots together, there is a theory in intelligence, commissioners, which is called misdirection. And you start to see how this 6th July was, it's more like staged from what I saw, from what I'm seeing. And when I was trying to tell him, and he laughed, he could not, but he's also carrying the issue of the suspicion.
From what you are saying, it seems to me that there was a lot of information from you, but on the bottom line, which is what we had gone to Nairobi for, all you got was just this one-liner. There is a possibility.
Yes, which will help me to investigate. We'll continue to investigate, and we will finally get the truth, because this is just a suspicion.
Could you not have done this over a phone call?
Because I was so hopeful that I will get something, either negative or positive, but I thought I'll get an answer. And it's not the first time, Commissioner, where you get to travel for information.
In your world, do you ever interact on issues like this over the phone in your environment?
If we know each other, being able to talk on certain codes which will understand each other, yes. But I can't talk to someone I never met and say something and we cannot. It's not doable.
What's the difference between seeing each other face to face and talking over the phone?
It is the thinking that the phone is not safe. there's that thing, all of us will say, hey, you can't talk this over the phone. And also to take effort to obtain information, it makes a person realize, Commissioner, that this man is serious about this.
But you consider the phone to be safe when you spoke to Ambassador Mthethwa about the same subject?
If you know each other, you can just ask him.
No, this is about safety now.
Yes,
This is
yes.
about safety.
Yes,
Did you consider the phone to be safe when you spoke to Ambassador Mthethwa about the same subject?
Yeah, but and he was far, and for me and him, we thought we could just talk about it. It's not that it is safe or not. There, I get the commissioner's point.
I think you're conflating issues. You made a point about your reluctance about raising this with a person in Nairobi over the phone. You made a point that the phone might very well not have been safe. That's a totally different issue from whether he would have had any comfort to talk to you about this subject. The two are totally different. There's one, the question of safety, and two, the question of comfort or lack of it. Do you get me?
That's correct.
Now I'm saying, let's focus on the question of safety only.
Yes.
Now, if there were issues of safety, why is it that you were comfortable to raise the issue with Ambassador Mthethwa over the phone, which you consider not to be safe? Do you understand my question now?
Yes, I understand the question. I believe I should put it right. Also, it's more riskier to talk to a stranger about something over the phone that you have never met. And I believed, Commissioner, that first let me agree to what you are saying, that it was a futile exercise and I wasted time. I could have done it over the phone. I must admit that. It's just that at that moment, I thought the man, if I meet him, it's difficult to make accusations to a stranger. I also thought, seeing me face to face, he may be more comfortable and tell me the truth, if there is any truth. But that's the answer he gave me.
Thank you.
Mr. Mkhosi, you say in that paragraph 50 that Minister Mthethwa referred you to a contact and your wedding. Contact who was aware of CIA operations in South Africa. So this contact, this George, is not a CIA operative himself. He's someone who is aware of CIA operatives.
That's correct.
And he must, who is he? He belongs to an organization. How does he become aware of CIA operations?
I don't know.
You were not
I was just told, yes.
You were just told, go meet
Yes.
George.
Yes.
And you didn't know who George is, and you went to meet him.
Commissioner, no one will say I am a CIA operative or I am not. But when you get information that this person may know something and you start talking to him and he agrees to meet you, you will go and find out.
So George may well just have been a random person you don't know, because you don't know his organization. You know nothing about him except that he's George. So it's fair to say that he may well have been a random person who just misled you when he said there's a possibility.
It's not about being random. It's like me, if you ask me, to which organization do I belong in?
Yes.
I will not say crime intelligence. Yes. I'll just say maybe I'm an operative. Now, if George says to me he is an agent,
you believe him?
Not to believe. I agreed to go and see him. Okay. Yes, and I've acceded to the fact that indeed it was futile, but he has promised to provide more information in future.
And this trip you made as a contact agent, it's part of your investigation as a contact agent.
Yes, that's correct.
So it would have been paid for by
I
crime
paid
intelligence?
No, I paid for myself. I paid for myself. I've not claimed anything from my handler. Some of these things, Commissioner, You know, I'm very patriotic. It is that's that people don't know. Some of these things I will do them from my pocket.
So the long and short of it is you paid for this
That's
trip
correct.
out of your pocket.
That's correct.
Thank you.
If I may ask, how much did it cost you? Traveling, hotel bills, and whatever other incidentals. How much did it cost you?
15,000 rand.
And I assume you have claimed amounts less than 15,000 rand from crime intelligence, have you not?
Less than or above?
I'm saying less, even less than, or have you not?
Yeah, I've been there for some, it's not more than that. Not more than that. You'll claim here and there, but not more than that.
Sorry?
I have not claimed more than that. You mean like money, cash, 15,000? No.
You have not?
No.
I find it strange then that you would not have claimed back an amount as high as 15,000 rand.
It's not the first time, commissioners. Commissioners, and in this is not only about claiming. Putting the country first, being patriotic, respecting the flag, carries more weight than these things people are thinking. A lot of weight.
Thank you.
You then, on your return, say you contacted ex-Minister Mthethwa and briefed him about the trip in Kenya. What did you report to him?
I told him we are still at the same position. There was nothing more tangible provided. The guy also has similar suspicions. He did not give me anything tangible.
And what did ex-Minister Mthethwa say to you?
He did tell me that he was also going to come to the commission, and amongst other things, he was prepared to corroborate his suspicions also.
For the record, I can confirm that Minister Mthethwa at no stage communicated his intention to come to the commission. He made no contact with the commission, ever.
Yes, he did. He did tell me. He never said he made contact. He was just saying he'll be coming, he's prepared to come to the commission and give that.
Can you date when you spoke to him?
Come again, Commissioner?
Can you date when you spoke to him to report what had happened in Kenya?
Yeah, just after I came from Kenya, around the 14th, I think. 13th, 14th September.
And again, would that be reflected on your phone?
Yes, I believe so.
Mr. Shaskelson, please. Mr. Mokhodzi, can you read into the record from the second sentence of paragraph 52 all the way to my handler at the end of paragraph 52?
Okay, Mthethwa confirmed that he was prepared to testify before the commission in confirmation of inter alia the fact that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi had been removed from office by Mthethwa for various reasons, one of which was the suspicion of him being a CIA agent. I relayed this information to my handler.
Thank you.
And we know that the late Minister Mthethwa passed away on 30 September 2025, which is what you allude to in paragraph 53. You say, under what can only be described as suspicious circumstances. Are you aware of any facts in this regard that are not in the public domain?
No, I know nothing. I only see what is in the public domain.
Can you then read paragraph 54 of your statement and maybe expand and explain to the Commission what you are wanting to convey in that paragraph.
The modus operandi I've adopted as an MK agent, and thereafter as informant to South African Police Service and as an agent for crime intelligence with a formal handler assigned, has always been that I'm constantly on the lookout for information that will suit my purpose in a particular situation. I would typically take advantage from acquiring a piece of information, relaying it to a specific person in a specific context for a specific purpose and to elicit specific reaction. It means I have learned to always look for any information that I can use, be it spoken by someone or any information that is on the public domain, if it's suitable or if I can use it to the advantage of whatever that I want to further. That's what I learned to do.
Mr. Mohlahlana, in your capacity as contact agent, good afternoon.
Thank you.
In your capacity as contact agent, you interact with your handler and your informants. You're investigating so many cases according to you. Do you keep a diary where you record this information? And the dates and who you met and what information they gave you? Where do you record all this information?
As an agent, you are required at all times to make notes and whatever and give to your handler who keeps your file. Your file is kept by your handler.
So
you
don't
cannot have a diary of anything of that sort, which if it becomes accessible to anyone, you will definitely be attacked.
So details relating to this trip to Kenya, all that information, you've already given it to your handler?
That's correct.
You no longer have their notes with you?
Yeah, but there was nothing written in Kenya. We only conversed as we do. And I came to tell him, and then we noted in the file, and he kept the file. That's correct.
I'm assuming that when you had to go to Kenya, you needed to go to a certain address at a certain time to meet a certain person who has been described to you? Because you can't just go there and meet anybody. You had to know what the person looks like, where you are going to meet them, at what time. Where did you record all that information?
It's not it's a normal thing. I'm flying at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I arrive in Kenya 5 o'clock, and then he'll tell you, you sit in the restaurant 6 o'clock, you go to outside, there is MTN and Telkom in Kenya. You then, either you buy airtime, but in the airport there is Wi-Fi. To say I've arrived and he tell you I'm wearing blue jacket, I'm outside, you go and meet him, and then you drive, go somewhere, from there you come back.
So that will be in your WhatsApp then, it won't be in a notebook?
No, you can't write that. You talk to him over the phone. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Chaskins.
So maybe on the same theme of records and to an earlier discussion where you say in your statement that you were involved in an operation where with 32 suspects and 32 firearms were seized. You remember that operation?
That's correct.
Now, you are a contact agent. You are not an operating member of the SAPS. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But you are in an operation. There must be a record of this operation.
It is.
Somewhere.
It is annexed.
It must show that you were... No, I'm not talking about pictures.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the pictures that are attached. I'm talking about a proper record of the operation itself in SAPS's books, and which will tell whoever is interested who was involved with that operation.
That's correct.
So one can expect to find you there.
Yes. What happens is that the person I'm referring to was who I was doing operations with. He has made a statement, and on his statement, he will say, remember his name is there and contact numbers. He'll say my source. He won't write my name. So only because I believe the commission will perhaps meet the person, It is him who will tell you, this is my source, this is the man who called us, this is what he told us, and that's how we knew.
Yes, no, I'm not asking about the source. I'm asking about you participating in an operation. Unless I'm reading your paragraph 29 wrong, you say I was also part of an operation during October 2024 rather, when 32 suspects were apprehended and 32 firearms were seized.
Yes.
So if you were, what I'm asking is if you were part of that operation
Yes.
as it unfolded, there must be a record, because we have come to learn that operations of the SAPS, there is a record of an operation that was undertaken and who was there. So I'm asking, you would be in that record.
I'm not sure if Commissioner is aware that being part of the operation is not physical, it's about information.
So you don't mean you were present when there was, I think, this takedown or whatever they call
No,
it?
if there can be a crossfire, you will be hurt. You cannot.
All right, no, I then misunderstood your statement in the.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mokgotsi. We're now going to get to the specific topics that we asked you to address in the various notices we sent to you. And the first topic is the evidence of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, which you address from the top of page 14, paragraph 56. I have some questions later on in this section, but maybe if you could take the Commission through paragraphs 56 to 60.
The evidence of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. The evidence of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, the conclusion drawn, and the assumptions made by him regarding me cannot be, in the absence of what I have stated here in above, be criticized. I say this because Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi could not and did not know that at all relevant times I was a contact agent acting on behalf of the state with tasks, orders to investigate both Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and Mohlahlana as aforesaid. The perception and assumptions that Lieutenant Mkhwanazi alluded to in his evidence with reference to me is exactly the outcome and the perception that I wanted to obtain and to create in order entirely to gain his trust and to get closer to him to investigate his ties with the CIA. At all relevant times, my handlers had full knowledge of and was kept appraised of my conduct and strategy, not only where Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was concerned. I was privy to sensitive information regarding the South African Police Service and crime intelligence, not because I had dubious relationship with any senior police officer or persons in the public office, but due to my involvement as a contact agent for the crime intelligence and through my vast network of informers and sources.
Can I just stop you at this point? Did your informers and sources within the SAPS, did they know that you were an agent?
I don't understand the question, Commissioner.
So people who were giving you information, SAPS members and crime intelligence members in particular, did they, and who gave you information, did they know that you were an agent?
Yeah, it depends. It's not everyone. But remember, someone who's employed in the crime intelligence will not necessarily be an informant, except for maybe a person who's in the employment of crime intelligence, being a support staff, for example, in the human resource or supply chain. That particular person, you may, of course, work with that person and the person will know that you are an agent. But others will, in this context, think you are maybe close to the minister, or you can do some changes, or you are this a person connected in the ANC, top brass, you can help them. Others, they perceive that your standing, you know someone in politics, or you know a person relevant to the situation that you are discussing.
Because I'm just trying to understand the situation that you're describing, which is an unusual one, which is of an agent operating to investigate crime intelligence itself, and depending on sources of information that come from inside crime intelligence. Now, it seems to me that if people inside crime intelligence know that you're an agent and give you information on that basis, there's a risk that that will compromise the whole operation, because once your status as an agent is known, it will be very difficult for you to get covert information from anybody else in crime intelligence. Do you accept that?
I accept that, not only in crime intelligence. I was raising that with my legal team to say, after this engagement with your office, senior counsel, remember initially the plan was to bring this statement in camera. I've taken into cognizance all those factors, and I'm now aware that from now on the whole world knows that I am this person. So no one will ever, I don't think there's anyone who will ever give me information. Even if they say there is a tender of 10,000, once you see me, you say, no, they will never work with me. I was telling my team, how are we going to deal with this going forward?
It is a concern, but I mean, in fairness, I think you yourself have disclosed your status as an undercover operative in interviews before you came to this commission.
I have never commissioned. I've always said the right platform will come. There was no way, because after the commission was established, I also checked and read the terms of reference. I really believed I will present this in camera.
But so that's the first issue, which is that if people know you are an agent, then there's always a risk that your status as an agent leaks into the broader world of crime intelligence that you're investigating, and your position is compromised. Would you accepted that proposition?
Yes, provided you do not explain to the person giving you information at first. You explain to a person that, look, the information you are giving me, now comes this part. I can assure you, even the president will deal with this. You assure a person.
But that raises my second concern, which is if people don't know that you're an agent.
They didn't know, now they know.
No, now they do. But if they don't, then what you're doing is, well, what's happening in the process is that crime intelligence operatives, employees, agents, are giving you what I would imagine is classified information, thinking that they're giving it to someone who isn't an agent.
No, there's no one. You see, all the information and instructions, commissioners, they will come through the handler. The handler will tell you there is this, and he will show you. There is no way you have to find me in possession of classified information. You can look at it, make notes, and understand, and even the notes you can't keep. But this investigation, it's not like a normal investigation. You meet a police carrying a docket, goes to a person and say, you stole a laptop. What happens is you tell your handler, the investigating officer of this case is sparkling. He knows he has to go and talk to this investigating office. In some instances, the commander of the handler, I don't know his commander, he'll talk to the commander of this investigating officer to say, we want to gather information for you. Crime intelligence, they will not carry the dockets, but he will, with the information I give him, he'll come and fill this docket in with information. Not necessarily that I must come and salute and say, hey, I'm an agent, give me the information, I'm going to help you. No, that's not how it works. You don't show the identity of people involved. And you talk to your person and say, with this information, I'll be able to do 1, 2, 3. Remember, a support staff who's a data capturer in supply chain, he can give you information and ask you, please make sure nobody knows about this, that it comes from me. It's a support staff in the supply chain. Once you have read it, maybe you take a picture, you give it back, then you give it to a handler, and the investigation unfolds. They won't know who gave it to you, and it doesn't necessarily has to be you saying I'm an agent. Remember, the support staff cannot even trust this other police. Your handler is not trusted by all the people. But they can trust me, and I give this handler the information.
Can we very briefly just deal with the letter, the disbandment letter that you address at 61 and 62 before we take the lunch break?
Maybe before you do that, Mr. Chaskasum, just a last thing on this topic that you're having now. You do, I think from your evidence, in fact, it's not even a question of accepting. You did disclose to General Sibia that you are an agent.
That's correct.
So other people may well know because of that disclosure to General Sibia. You have no control over it. He may well have told other people in crime intelligence.
I don't know.
Yes.
It is him who knows.
But it's possible that, in fact, the people in crime intelligence that you are discussing with Mr. Chaskalson may well have known that you're an agent because you've already shared that information with somebody else, and that is General Sibia. It has to be a yes, Mr. Mkhotsi.
I don't understand, commissioners. Commissioner is saying after I told General Sibia, he told someone.
He may have told other people.
Yeah,
You don't know.
I don't know.
So it is quite possible on that hypothesis that people in crime intelligence, other people in crime intelligence may well have known that you are.
If he has told them.
Okay. Thank you.
I think, Mr. Shaskalson, let's deal with what you were referring to when we come back.
Thank you, Chair.
Let's adjourn and resume at 2.